Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We are live on Neevesknives. Trying to kind of rush getting set up here. Running a little late, but that's okay. I do got a bunch of awesome topics for us today. Some really cool ones. Also, I know we're still letting people get in here. Sorry, only 11 people in here right now. Don't forget to drop a like. So, the thing I talked about a while back with everybody, in some of the lives, I don't think I said it on the regular channel. I think I only said it in the live, but I got the grinder in, the one that Mr. Amazing bought for me and the channel. It's, definitely got me, not only excited, but very, very nervous. And I don't get nervous very easily, but it's an amazing thing, but it's definitely a big, I don't even know how to say it. I guess like it's a huge thing for the channel, not only for the channel, but for me, period. I know it's, it opens up a lot of doors, and I know that, and I can't, thank him enough or appreciate it enough. I've never ran one or anything. I have no doubt I can't run one. I've run machinery my whole life, so I know I could get good at it. It just takes a lot of practice and everything. And I plan on doing regrinds. Obviously, I'm not taking orders or anything. Haven't even set it up yet. I just got the rest of it today, so I'm going to probably take a couple days off in the next week or so. Actually, I'm going to take a couple days off twice off the channel, because with the channel, work, everything else, I can't fit nothing else in, right? Nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple days off of the channel, off of uploading, and I'm going to, I ordered some other stuff for the channel too. I'm going to make some upgrades. We're going to update some stuff, upgrade some stuff, possibly change the studio around, and other stuff, like I'm going to work on, things that Mike Emler's told me I should start doing, and other people, with social media and editing and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Learn some stuff, right? I think it's always good to progress and learn and change and evolve, right? We're over 20K now, so I think it's good to upgrade just a little bit. And I have been doing the YouTube shorts. I finally figured it out. Holy shit, took me forever, but I figured it out. I know it's probably so easy for a lot of people. It ain't easy for me. I'm not good with the technology stuff. So, but I did learn it. I think, at least I'm pretty sure I did. And also the stories on, I think it's called stories on, YouTube. So I plan on using that to like entice people to the channel, by, like showing something cool and explaining it on a knife, so that whoever's watching, they can understand it really quick, very easily. And then that possibly will make them want to learn more or want to see more, right? So it'll be a good way for that. I appreciate you guys if you guys watch it. It does help the channel. They're still monetized, and it'll definitely benefit the channel if you guys do watch it. And then it'll also be a quick way for people to see something maybe they like, and I'll try to link it in the description of the shorts. But also it makes it possible for more people that wouldn't find my channel, to find it and come and tune in. Don't get naked on your shorts. I know, Jason, I'm fighting not to, I'm fighting not to, but I can't promise anything. That's all I'm going to say. Tri-State's in here. What's up, bud? Tri-State, shout out to Tri-State EDC. Go and sub to his channel. An amazing, amazing channel. Same thing with all the other channels in here. You see Mike Emler's in here, 1 Minute Knife Reviews. Definitely go and sub to their channels. But the grinder, fucking grinder, man. I'm planning on learning hollow grinds first. I'm going to try with that first. Somebody told me that it's best to practice or to learn or perfect one first. Don't try to do both at the same time, meaning flat grinds and hollows. Don't try to do them both or try to learn both of them. Try to learn one and then move on to the other one after you've perfected it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited. I waited to buy all the other supplies that I'm going to need for it, though. And I did that on purpose, because when I started looking into the things and ordering the things, I had so many questions like, oh man, I wonder what size of this I should get, or I wonder, you know, how big the space of this I'm going to need, or just things. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait for it to get here, then set up, because that way I can be positive that I'm buying the right thing and something that's going to work with, you know, that. I'm out. I'm setting up for movie. You're always out, Mike. Mike never stays long. He never stays long. He just comes in for a quick shout out. Go and sub to his channel, guys. When are you taking these days off? I'm not positive. Probably next. Possibly. I don't know. I'm not. I'll still do the lives. I'm still going to do the lives. I just mean I'm not going to record for possibly a couple days. I thought about just recording and having a couple videos set up so I at least have videos uploading, but I'm at the very least, I'm not going to be recording or editing. If I do that, it's just going to be where I can just upload the video, because if I have to edit and do things like that, then it doesn't make sense, because I'm planning on tearing everything apart. I'm planning on actually like going through a lot of shit and really focusing. So maybe I'll have a couple videos uploaded. So, it just ready to hit, you know, public. Let's get into some of these topics. I forgot the last live to do the word of the day. You guys are supposed to keep me in check on this shit. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Something's wrong with you guys. I come in to get that view. I stick around long enough for it to push up the algorithm. I appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate that. Also, you know what? Speaking about that, let's talk about that really quickly, because a lot of you guys, or I was actually talking to somebody that told me that they watch my ads. They do it because they understand that I don't get paid unless if they do watch the ad, right? And it's not that you have to watch the entire ad. You have to watch at least 30 seconds of the ad, or you can click on the ad. If you click on the ad, then it'll automatically benefit the channel. So if you guys want to help support the channel, you guys are watching the ad anyways, don't be afraid to just click on it. It'll help the channel, or watch 30 seconds of it. I do appreciate it if you guys do. If not, you know, I understand. Because I know fucking ads suck, man, don't they? And, you know, and I don't blame anybody who wants to just become, what is it called? YouTube Premium or something. I think it's called YouTube Premium, where you pay like $12 a month and then you never see another ad again. It still benefits the channel. So, and I don't blame you guys for doing that. I do that. So I think it's $12 a month I pay. I think that's what it is. And I'm ad free, no ads. I never see one ad, but it still benefits the channels I watch, just not as much as like what you guys do. But it makes it possible for me to support the channels and go and see other channels, because otherwise, you know, I wouldn't even be able to watch or pay attention to a lot of them, because I just wouldn't have the time. And then, you know, I try to do what I can. I always click the ads. Tri-State smart. I always click the ads, but way you can skip and still make sure your peeps get paid. Facts. And that's what I was getting at. It does make it a quick way for the people to, you know, to still get paid without having to watch. Just click it and then, you know, then back up out of there. Shenanigans sound like a chain restaurant. Yes, we're opening up a chain restaurant. It's going to be called Neevesknives for Dummies. Oh, didn't know that clicking takes less than 30 seconds. Right. Aside from it uploading, you know, sometimes, you know, you might have to deal with, but it does, you know, it helps. And like certain ones are better than others. It's not that all of them benefit the channel as much as, you know, one or the other. They're all different. It just depends. But hopefully soon though, with the belt grinder, I'm backing up. I'm kind of all over the place, but soon when I do set it up, I'll show it to you guys. And, yeah, we'll get a little content on it and I'll show it to you guys. I know it's for some people probably not that interesting, but you know, I'll still show it. And I am uploading videos now to Patreon that are behind the scenes. I actually have one, man. I should have uploaded already. And we got the 20K giveaway. Maybe I'll show you guys one or two of the knives here in a little bit. That's going to go up for the giveaway for the Patreons. But yeah, I do appreciate though everybody who uses my links. My links are up right now, and you guys are amazing. I can't fucking believe how many of you guys are using my links it's such a massive help. It's a massive help. If I told you guys how well the links are doing, you guys would probably stop using them. So I'm not going to tell you, but they are doing very well. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. It is a massive help to the channel and just everything possible, because it's expensive, man. It is. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. You know, if you even just look at half of my receipts over the month, holy cow. And I don't mean from buying knives. I mean from shipping. Okay, so let's get into some of these knife talks. Couple different things. Well, one, we're gonna get into some like technical stuff here in a second, and I do got a cool story for later. But let's talk about the Kershaw highball really quick, because man, this is a knife. What's up, Mark? I'm super impressed with this thing. Listen, I know it's a budget knife. I know it's you know, it's a China-made Kershaw, and that's the part that pisses me off. Everything else, man, is awesome about this thing. This is such a good knife. It's not big. I know it's called the highball XL. I don't know what's XL about it, aside from they did make a smaller one. But this thing, it's a medium-sized knife. It's definitely not a large knife. Let's look at it next to a PM2 really quick, because a lot of people do know the size of a PM2. But you can see, I mean, it's a lot small. I don't even have it lined up. It's a lot smaller than a PM2, and it's more compact, a lot more compact. But damn it, I can't help but think if they would have done this USA made, just because, you know, their USA line is probably the best knives they make. Arguably, I don't even think that's an argument. They're the best knives they make, the USA made ones, and more people would have bought them. I definitely would appreciate it a little bit more. I think the quality would be a little bit better, which I'm not saying the quality is bad. The quality is amazing on this thing, but I think then they would have used the 14C28N. Why not? Why wouldn't they have done that? This is such an amazing design. The action is insane. And I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate they didn't use HCR. I appreciate using D2. But now my next argument, why not turn this into a ZT? I don't get it. Why not make this a titanium knife with 20 CV? Make a double XL version. This thing's fire. It's so good. Such a good knife. And I argued in my my first impression saying that the detent is light. And it is. However, if you hit the fuller at the top, when you flick, like instead of flicking down here, you flick up here. So instead of me going like this, I go up here. It's perfect. Perfection. It's actually pretty strong. So I would almost argue that maybe it's not a light detent. It's hard for me not to say it's not a light detent, because most people will flick it down here like that. And in that case, it is a little light. And I could tune that. Not a big deal. But right there, that thing is solid. Very solid. And, you know, it works perfectly for lefties because you have the over travel stop to put your finger on. Fantastic knife. And the thumb action is really good. It's nice and slicey. I will say this, though, man. I don't know. It's probably a burnt edge, but I used it to... I only used it once. I used it to unbox the... Not completely unbox, but unbox some of the grinder, and the edge just went to shit. Like, all I did was open a box, so it's either a burnt edge, or I'm guessing it's just a burnt edge. But I tuned it up really quick on a strap and a ceramic rod, and it's better. But what's up, Knife Sergeant? Boomer. Okay, Chat and Jared, Kershaw bare knuckle or Civivi Elementum button lock? That's tough, man. That's a tough one. I'll say the Kershaw bare knuckle, because it's a USA made knife and it's a fantastic knife. However, I do like, because I also like having a deployment option, the button lock Elementum is a really good knife, and I love the profile of this knife. I love the hollow grind. I love this blade shape. It's like my favorite blade shape. The ergos are very neutral, so I kind of want to say the CVV Elementum button lock. However, I'd rather have a deployment option, even though this is fun. I mean, a lot of people give it shit, but I bet you all the people that gave it shit opened it up, did this a couple times and then said it was shit, right? They didn't ever carry it, use it, because that's where I find it so good, is using it. And another thing, like when I'm using it during the day, this is the beauty of it. And I kind of talked about this in my one of my last videos, where like when I'm cutting my straps at work, this thing is awesome because it's literally just so quick. Just wham, I cut my straps and then bam, right back like that. And now I can use this hand. And then when I'm ready for this thing, it's open. I use it right back shut. It's such a good knife to have to use both hands. And that is something to appreciate because your fingers are always right there anyways. So, I can easily just use it right back in my hand. It's so fast. And I do appreciate that a lot. Now, you could do that with any button lock, right? But this thing has, because it locks when it's closed, it doesn't bounce. Like a lot of knives will do that, right? If you let go of this button, it's not coming out. I mean, it locks it in. And you can always just do the double finger where you go like that. Ricardo, what's up, bud? 2 bones. Thank you, man. I appreciate the donation. You guys were killing it with the donations last week. Holy shit. I seen that video, the last live, $125, and you guys are crazy. It pushed me over a number that I'm trying to stay in for the channel, because there's a specific number. I'm not going to say it out loud, but it's a certain number I'm trying to stay in for revenue for the channel, for it to work out, right? If I can stay in this number, then it can work out, right? It can not only make it worth it, right? And I'm talking about with everything else included, obviously, right? If it was just that number, then no. But with the links and everything else, that specific number, if I stay right there, I'm doing pretty decent, meaning I'm not losing, I'm winning, right? So you guys pushed me over that number and I appreciate that. And if I can stay right there, I know it's not gonna. I know it'll go back down, and I'm gonna be really sad after that, but it's okay. Self-sustaining, exactly, self-sustaining, and not even self-sustaining. And I'm gonna be honest, benefiting a little, definitely benefiting, but what people don't ever put into consideration is I gotta pay taxes on everything. So yes, I get to write stuff off, of course, but taxes are gonna be a motherfucker. But yeah, self-sustaining and then some, right? Profitable because I put in a lot of work. I don't want it to be for nothing. I want it to be beneficial. And then it makes it where I'm better with the channel, right? I'm better with my content. I'm happier. And it's not even about happiness. I think it's more about just everything, obviously. I have the bare knuckle and I like it, but I don't love it. I have an Elementum, but not the button lock, but it's really good. So I lean towards the CVV. So the regular Elementum is an amazing knife. I always recommend it. I think that's probably one of my most recommended knives for a budget knife. But if you don't have one of these and you really like the Elementum, and like maybe the Elementum is like, because it's almost a perfect size for a regular EDC without being too small, right? It's right in that happy medium spot where it's small, but you can still get by with it, because some small knives are just too small. Like this is too fucking small, but it's like one of those knives where it's small, but it works. This makes it a full size knife where you can get by with this thing really good. So I would say check it out if you really like the Elementum. Can you do a review? Can you review a good battle song? I got a review, I think, on the Benchmade Morpho 51. That's the only one I had. Oh no, I got another one on, I think, the Baron Sons. What is better, S90V or LMAX? That's tough, man. I think obviously that's going to be opinion based. I think I like them both. Right now, I'm on an LMAX kick, so I'm gonna say LMAX right now. But I love a X90V too. I could take either one. I did wind up getting, and it's gonna be here soon. Probably Monday or Tuesday. I got that to you. I got that to you with the access lock. I really hope that, because I love Dave Warren's designs. I'd like to see Dave Warren do some more designs. He the what is it, the NB2, that thing's such an amazing design. I never tried the Hive. I should have, because of how much I love Tuya, but to be honest, like, it is an expensive knife. It's like $250, and the time when it was getting so much hype, it was impossible for me to buy that knife. Like, when I got the NV2, I didn't just buy that knife. That knife wound up being like a saved Christmas gift or birthday gift or something from Kara. Soon, bud. Soon. I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna do that. You know what's funny? I threw like a, I don't know what you'd call, like an Easter egg at Civivi. So, or a Wee knife. So we in Civivi, they contacted me on email and they gave me the list of some of their new knives that were coming out, and asked me which ones I'd like to check out, or which ones I'd like to review. And I gave them my list, right? Then at the end of the thing, like, there's a sheet, and at the end of it, it like asks you, is there anything we can do better? Right? Or do you have any advice or anything like that we can do better? Which I think is awesome, right? No other knife company has that. So just so you guys know, like, I've never seen that from any other company but them. I have had companies personally come and talk to me, but I mean, like, on a paper, right? So that means they're getting feedback from everybody they send knives to. Anyways, on there, I wrote, you guys are killing it. I said, but I'd love to see you guys do a design with Neevesknives, or have Neevesknives design a knife for you guys. Oh, hell yeah. So one day I'm gonna try to get a 3D printed knife. I've already talked to somebody, they might be in here on doing the 3D print for me. After I throw up a design, I just have to have all the numbers right, for it to work. With the bare knuckle is the blade shape. It's a little like, see, I don't mind the bare knuckle blade shape. I like the bare knuckles blade shape. Now, if you have a problem, because it doesn't have a recurve, I've sharpened it on flat stones. I've never had an issue sharpening it. Um, I just sharpen it on flat stones, but I know what you mean. It almost seems like it's going to recurve, but it doesn't. It's like really close. And depending on the system you have or how you sharpen, if you sharpen like with the work sharp, not a problem. If you sharpen with the Lansky, not a problem. I don't have no problem freehanding it, but I also have no problem freehanding on little stones. So maybe it might be an issue for some people, but I don't have an issue with it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that doesn't. But I haven't heard anybody else really complain about it, so it might be just you. Not saying you're, don't take that the wrong way. Jared, getting big now. Knife companies coming to you asking for feedback. That's good. It's a sheet of, everybody gets it, not just me. They send to all the reviewers that they're planning on keeping in their roster of reviewers. So I'm sure like 5 people got it, not just me. I wish. Not, no, I don't. I'm just joking. But if I was that conceited, I'd say I wish, which I kind of did. Is 154 cm good steel? Oh yeah, I like 154 cm. 154 cm is a great steel. A lot of people would argue it's the best budget steel because it's like, it's right at the line, or mid-grade steel. Sorry, the best mid-grade steel. It depends on what you're, because things change every couple of years. The super steels get closer to mid-grade and new super steels come in. So it depends on where your lines line up between what's budget, what's mid-grade, and what's super steel, or what's high-end steels. But 154 cm has always been either a premium or a mid-grade steel. Like, it's right there. So it was at one time the premium steel. Now it's a mid-grade steel, but you can get it for a budget price. But you don't really, even though you can get it for a budget price, you wouldn't really call it a budget steel, like, because of all the budget steels, right? If it's so much better than all the other budget steels. I personally don't like CPM 154 though. No, it's not better than S30V. S30V is definitely better. It's got better edge retention for sure. So S30V would be an upgrade from 154CM. 154CM would be like in the same realm as 14C28N, VG10, N690, things like that. Most people would rather have 154CM than VG10 or N690, but I personally like 14C a little bit better than it, but they're right there together. And then what it would be under S35 and S30V. So that's a good way to look at it. I personally think that it says a lot about a company that wants to know feedback from people that don't work directly for them or have a real affiliation with them, Great way to get feedback. Absolutely. I think that's really good. And I've said that a bunch of times. What's up, Seth? Um, I've always said that too, that the best thing a company can do, especially from reviewers, is one, ask for an honest review. Two, take into consideration what they're saying, and don't like take it to heart. So like if I get a knife and I just bash the shit out of it, don't take it to heart. Take it, into consideration the things I'm saying and the things that you can do better, and then try to improve that. However, if you're somebody that just bashes knives, then obviously don't even listen to that person. But there's a difference between somebody who bashes knives and somebody who understands. Like I can look at a knife and it's not my style, right? It's not my style at all, and I personally would never ever buy it. But that has nothing to do with the review. I can't put that into consideration because I'm reviewing the knife. I'm not buying the knife. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I could say this is my style of knife. This is what I love. Or, you know, but then I would bash everybody else's opinion, right? I'd bash everybody else's preference and everything else. So that's why, like, when I review a knife, even if it's not my style, what do? I test it how it's supposed to be, right? So, like that knife, what's it supposed to be used for? Because the person that's looking for that style of knife is wanting it for a specific thing, whatever it is. So, is the build quality good? Is the lock good? Is the action good? Is the fit and finish good? Does it work for X thing that it's supposed to do? Does it make sense? And in that case, I'll give it a good review. It doesn't matter if it's not my style. It doesn't have to be my style because the person looking for it, think about it. If you're looking for, say, a recurved drop point, right? Because you need a knife that traps materials, and you also need a knife that can do utility cuts for whatever job, right? And say, I hate that blade shape. It would be shitty of me to shit all over that knife just because it's not my style, right? Now, you don't wind up buying a great knife just because it's not my style. That doesn't make no fucking sense. So I have to review that knife based on its quality and whether or not it's good for that thing. And I can always put in there like, it's not really my style, but I might not even say that anyways because that's irrelevant. It's a review. Jared, what do you think about the Benchmade 391 SOP? I don't even know about that one. If I seen it, I'd probably know about it. But I can't think of it. What was it again? The 391. Let's see. All right, so here it is for everybody to see. It kind of reminds me of what's that other slim one? Oh, the Fact. It kind of reminds me of the Fact. Is it assisted? I see it's got an axis lock, but I know they have those. I mean, it's cool. It looks pretty stabby. My oh, it's a like a dagger. Yeah, I would be worried, to be honest. Like if I was just gonna break it down right here, just off of looking at it, I'd be worried about the thickness of the grind because the grind is so short, so it starts in the middle. So it has the least amount of distance to get down to a good cutting edge. However, if we're talking about for self-defense, it looks amazing. If we're talking about a knife that's mostly for self-defense, partially for EDC, it looks amazing. But if you're looking for an EDC knife that's supposed to work as a tool, I would say no. However, I have been getting into slimmer knives lately, um, which is going to be a oh shit, you guys probably couldn't hear anything I said, could you? Could you guys even hear me just now? Shit. Yeah, let me see if this works. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, like that. I'm not sure if you guys even heard what I just said. Okay, okay, good. Sometimes when I take my face completely off the screen, it shuts the audio off. Okay, but yeah, so I've been getting into slimmer knives a little bit, and that's actually one of the topics we're going to talk about just a little bit. Not that I'm getting into slimmer knives, but how bi-weekly I noticed like because before, like I would be into like whatever kind of knives for months. That's the style I'd want, right? But but lately I've noticed like my style kind of changes by the week. And it's because of whatever I'm doing, right? So like if I'm say at work and I have a specific thing I have to do that week, then those style knives that are best for that job are the one I'm into, right? Now, if I'm just around the house, right? Whatever knives are best for around the house. If I'm doing any type of like work or something, well then it might be a little bit more harder use. And I know everybody does that, but I think it's great having a collection. And this is kind of a topic that I want to talk about. I think it's good having a collection with all those little corners. And like think about a kitchen, right? You don't have one knife in your kitchen. You have a butter knife, you have say steak knives, you have a paring knife, you have a chef knife, possibly a chopper, depending on how big your kitchen is and how much you cook. But you're going to have an array of knives. You're not going to have one knife for everything. So it's kind of like with EDC. You should kind of have the same thing. You should have different knives for specific tasks. So one, so you're using the right tool for the job. But besides that, so that like when you do run into whatever task or whatever, you're using the right tool, and then when you get a new one, you know the little things that make that thing good and why you'd want to make it better. So now on your next purchase, you're gonna wind up purchasing even a better tool than the last time because you're gonna knock out the little things that maybe kept it out of your pocket more, or possibly why you loved it so much. So now like this is what I like. Kind of like with even chef knives, right? Like if you're going to use a good chef knife, but the one you have in your kitchen is just a little bit too big, right? And you wish it was just a little bit smaller. Well, next chef knife you get, you might get one a little bit smaller. Or maybe you have an octagon handle or a round handle or something like that you really like on that knife. So I think having, I don't know what the number would be, right? I'm guessing 10. That's what I want to feel. It's like 10. I think you should have 10 knives for EDC in a good rotation between a light duty, hard use, like the type of knife that you don't care about fucking up. Like this is the type of knife that's a real hard use knife, one I could break or not break, but well, one, you could have one that if you're gonna lose or break, you shouldn't care about. Two, you should have one that can take the abuse and you're not going to worry about breaking it because it's that tough. And then maybe a light, thin EDC knife that's lightweight for like jogging and doing things like that. Maybe a knife that's really good for just slicing, right? For breaking down your recycling, things like that. Maybe a good fixed blade for camping, or for, if you're out fucking, grilling or something, that'd be good for your, to help cook or whatever, to cut the meat up and things like that. Um, but yeah, I think 10's a good number. And then also, if you have it bigger and you have, like, say if your EDC knife for carrying and just daily use is a 3-inch knife, right? And you have 5 of those or 3 of those, well, that also takes the abuse away from all of them, because you evenly distribute the use across them all. Your knives last a lot longer. Hey, Maurice is back. Say, Mr. Beefy, say it, Mr. Beef. Thank you, Maurice. But thank you very much, man. 10 bones. What the hell, man? It always fucks me up. I'm trying to think what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. When you have a bunch of like the same style knife that works for you, they last so much longer. Like, I had somebody like argue like that one of my knives, like, that I never used it because it wasn't all fucked up. And it's like, I've used it a ton, but it's like, that's not my only knife. Like, just because you're taking one of the only 2 knives you have out of your pocket and are looking at your knife saying, look at how fucked up my knife is, that means nothing. Like, I have a lot of knives, plus I review knives. So a lot of times might not even get to carry my knives. I'm carrying other knives I'm reviewing. So it's like, that doesn't make sense. But if you have a bunch of knives, you would find out that you put less wear and tear on your knives. They wind up looking really good, even though you've used the heck out of them. I carry a Provoke. How's my American Blade Works version 6? Gave it away. It was a gift. I carry a Provoke. But yeah, it was really good before I gave it to somebody as a gift, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to purchase it, was because I wanted to, I was looking for something USA made for a specific somebody. 1 Minute Knife Review says he carries 5 knives a day. He ain't fucking around with 3. 3 knives, that's not enough. I carry 2 normally. A lot of times I carry 1 more in my bag, so I guess I carry 3. But I usually always have 2 on me, especially if I have my EDC organizer, because that holds my secondary. Which, I'll be honest, man, during the day I use both of them like all day. Sometimes I'll hand it off to somebody, but a lot of times, like, I'm using both of them. 1 for the edge retention, and 2 because I might hand the one off to somebody, so I still need a knife, or maybe that knife works better for this thing and the other knife works better for that thing. So even though they'll both work good, they'll both work for both tasks, but sometimes one works better for one and the other one works better for another. Not fucking around. So what counts as a knife exactly? If it cuts, it's a knife. Yeah, I'd say if it cuts, it's a knife, but I would say, yeah, if it cuts, it's a knife, but I mean, an axe isn't a knife. A spear isn't a knife. I mean, technically a bullet can cut. My knuckles can cut, but I would say, yeah, any type of edged object specifically for cutting. Yeah. Derek, thank you, man. Thanks for the donation. Blades and Fades is in here. Thank you, Derek. I really appreciate it, man. Shout out to Blades and Fades. Favorite secondary knife? Probably the Elementum. It's so useful. Like, it's so perfect as a backup knife. So perfect as a secondary. Now, I like a lot of secondaries. So I that was just out of my ass. Like, if somebody random just asked me, like, that's out of my ass, but it is a good secondary knife. It's very basic, but it works for everything. You know, even like this Asticus. I just said out of my ass, and now I'm saying Asticus. This thing's really good like that too. And you know, there's something I want to kind of bitch about Civivi. And I'm probably gonna bitch about it twice, so you guys will probably hear it in a video. What the fuck is up with them in their lock bar access lately? It's like they always had the best lock bar access, like forever. Like they were literally the company I would look at and say, hey, you know, do lock bar access like this. They do it really good. And now all of a sudden, every damn knife, the Sun Cut knives, except for the Actium, the Sun Cut knives, the new ones. Okay, so the first ones they did were great. The new ones all suck. This thing sucks. The can't remember the name of it. But whatever the name of it is, the Asticus, it sucks. The access sucks. Yes, I can do it, but it could be so much better. But I feel like they're just not. They're like saying, fuck the access to the lock bar now. They'll buy it anyways. Like, I don't like that. Willow will have to join train. Thank you, man. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, man. Got a train of donations coming in. I want. Delica is a good backup. Yes, that's another one. The Delica. The Delica is a fantastic one. That's what I used the other day. Actually, I actually used the Elementum one day and the Delica another. Same thing with the Chaparral. That's another one. I want seems logical, but I can't say the name for Quadifa. Okay. I'm trying. Maybe I just don't get it. It might have went over my head. He says, I'm trying to think of all the tools I might carry throughout the day. How many knives I might carry? Sawzall, circular saw, chisel, razor blade. Yeah. Fucking big ass EDC. That'd be actually a funny video. But yeah, as long as you're carrying a good pocket knife, you at least got one on you, and then all the rest are backups. What's up? B Wallace is in the house. What's up, Brian? Yo. Indela, my first giant hands. Yeah, the Indela is I had the Endura. I never had the Indela. All right, what's the next subject we're going to talk about? So we're going to talk about lock rock and lock issues here in a minute. We got a bunch of like little topics, and we got to do word of the day. Don't let me forget this time, you fucks. You guys let me forget last week. Okay, so I wanted to talk about these off-grid knives. Where the hell is it? Oh shit, I might have got it right here. These off-grid knives. Now I know this is the first one I've tried, so I can't speak for them all. This thing's pretty awesome. This is a tough knife. I can definitely feel not only how tough this thing is, I can tell this is a hard use knife. Now, yes, it is a liner lock, but pretty thick liners. Not they're not thin, they're not weak. Cue ball. Thank you, Chris. Jared, agree about Civivi. I think Kaiser wins the budget crown for 2021 with Kubi in very close second. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Yeah, that's a tough one. And I'm going to have this showdown. I'm going to do a showdown between the best budget knives and best knife of the year. We'll see who wins. But yeah, between Civivi, Kaiser, and Kubi, man, that's tough. That is a tough fucking, it's very tough. I really like that Kubi 322. I like the 321 and the 122, but damn it, that 322 is just amazing. But like I said, even same thing with the 321. Just it's a badass knife. But Kaiser has just put out so many heaters. And Civivi, I mean, Civivi always kills it. It's crazy to see other budget companies stepping up and possibly beating Civivi. The one thing I will give to Civivi, though, nobody's beating them on their grinds. So if you're wanting a good knife as a tool, And I'm not saying the other ones aren't good knives as tools. I'm just saying their grinds are so even. It's insane. And they're nice and thin. They're great cutters. They last a long time because you can resharpen them over and over without them like getting stupid thick and burning up their choils and everything. Shane Gable says, I like CVV at $40, but now I'm out. These off-grid knives, though, this thing's a beast. It is a beast. Definitely a thinner blade, though, which I like for a hard use knife. Not saying all hard use knives should be thin blades, but this thing will cut very, very good while not sacrificing or not. It's robust and slicey without being too robust and without being too like slicey. So it's got that real happy medium grind and like robustness to where it's badass. I do really like it. Like I said, this is my first one and only one, so I can't speak for the rest of them. But if the rest of them are similar to this, I need to check out some more off-grid knives. This action is really good, very solid. The ergos are amazing. Access to the lock bar is good. Stupid smooth, and it's coated. I'm gonna have to check out some more of these for sure. For hard use knives, like that's the where right now I'm looking at them as. Like, I don't know. I mean, the prices are pretty good too, so they're a great budget hard use knife so far. The riffle looks cool. It's around $60. The riffle's amazing. Your favorite off-grid knife is the Badger. Think all mine are made by Best Tech. Does Best Tech make off-grid? Is that what you're saying? I didn't know that. If that's what you're saying, I don't want to put that in your mouth if that's not what you're saying, but yeah, CVV is awesome. Yeah, it does. It sounds tough. Just the sound of it sounds really good. I got two Kubies this past week. I like them so much, I decided to order the Kubi Drake in S90V. Damn! In titanium. I'm hoping it's a winner. I have not tried that one, so I can't tell you if it is or not. But Kubi does a good job with their high-end knives. Now, there is a limit I haven't crossed yet with Kubi. Like their real expensive knives I've never tried. That Kubi Atlas is badass though. That's a really good one. I think the most I've ever tried from them was like $140 knife or something. Now the Kubi Atlas, which is like $160 knife. So I've tried some of their premium knives, but never their like $240 knives or anything. So what do you think? Best Tech makes off-grids cheaper G10 knives, and we makes the high-end stuff. No shit. I did not know that. No wonder why they're fucking good. Okay, so I'm guessing Best Tech makes this then. That's what I'm guessing. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no wonder. It makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I get it now. Yeah, the Brazen and the Riffle are definitely, as of right now, the two winners for Civivi's budget knives, in my opinion. I really like the Asticus, but they fucked up by not putting better access to the lock bar. I like this knife a lot, and I would have gave it a really, really good review if not for that access to the lock bar, because so many things are good on it. Great blade shape, great grind, nice and thin hollow grind, great user, great everything. But then that access to the lock bar just kind of upsets me. There's a couple things they could have improved on a little bit better, but I wish they would have done that, because like with the Elementum, these two would be pretty good competitors. I wish they would do a large Elementum like the Elementum. But I really like this one. I don't mind the button lock one. I've already talked about it earlier, so I'm not going to get into it now. I know everybody gives it shit for not having a deployment option, but I do have those coming. Those are on the way, by the way. The button lock knives, the button lock CVVs, which might take the cake. Let's be honest, because we're talking about the Riffle and the Brazen, but we haven't even tried the button lock knives yet. They got the real button lock knives coming. So we'll see. They look pretty sweet. Seems like they've been kind of slipping into the flat grind category too lately. I don't think Best Tech gets enough hype for their low end stuff. All the ones I've had were great. Great action, fit finish for low budget. I agree. I've tried a bunch of their budget knives and they were all amazing. All of them. I have yet to have had a bad Best Tech. I don't think I've had one period. So handled this. Oh, did you? They're quite good. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I got some on the way, so we'll see how it goes. They're at least soon. The Brazen's around 50, 60 bucks, something like that. 50, 60 bucks. Yeah, like 50 bucks. 14C G10. Okay, the Tonto's D2 though. The Tonto's D2 and the drop point is 14C28N. Beads Blades has got a knife sergeant shirt. What's up, Joanne? Even Send cuts are creeping up in price, but they seem to be equivalent to the early mid SVV knives at the price point. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are like right there in that that range where the same price they used to be with the same quality though, so you can't be too mad at it. Um Maurice is back. It's all about the hips. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Yeah, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Thank you, man. Thank you for the donation, man. I really, man, the Sun Cut knives, I like them, but I like them. I think they're great. The Actium, though, that's the killer. That one eats all the other ones alive. Now, I do understand that not all of them need to be as slicey as the Actium, so maybe I'm just biased. I can admit that. That deep hollow grind is just nasty, though. Willow, because Maurice, of course. That's because of you, Maurice. Thank you, Maurice, and Willow, Thank you guys. You guys are awesome, man. He's talking to him. What's up, Bees Blades? Shout out to Bees Blades. According to Outpost 76, CVV's D2 isn't very good at holding an edge. Well, I wouldn't say that because he did that's not true because he's done cut tests and their D2 did better than a lot of maybe one specifically, but like when I watched, what did he do? He did one on an older Civivi. I think it was an older Civivi D2, and it did really good. It was actually not far off from CPM D2, and he did those in the same video. So I wouldn't say that. And I've tried their D2. I think they're doing a pretty good job with their D2 Civivi. But in all reality, this is none. I'm saying all companies combined are not doing D2 as good as D2 is supposed to be. It's just not possible. But for production D2, they do a good job. Look at some of the other companies, D2. They're doing not horrible, but the edge retention's like sometimes like 8CR. It's supposed to be like S30V. So if they can get D2 to do cut tests and do edge retention tests like OS 10, VG10, 154CM, things like that, or a little, right around there, then it's doing pretty good. But yeah, there were a lot of D2 knives, especially when they started first using D2, that were doing really bad. But they've definitely improved over time. Mostly folders and a bit of everything. Everyone was so mad when Spyderco's prices raised years back, but now we know, like always, they are just ahead of everyone else. Well, everything's going up right now, guys. Inflation. Just helping Maurice. Help you, Jared. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing, man. Thank you guys for the donations. You guys are awesome. But inflation is here, man. Inflation is here. Everything's gone up. I even said that about my Amazon affiliate links. Like, I was able to link some knives for basically the same price, but the majority of them were higher than others. So, and I mean, like say the ZTO 450 was always like $170. Now it's like over 200. The 940, the 940 was like $180. Now it's over 200. I'm sure you can still find them in places, but once they're gone, the other prices are going to be the only ones you see. Um, but yeah, with D2 though, D2 is not made for production knives. It's made to be heat treated in small batches. So for any production company to even do a decent job with it, there's a reason why they're getting it so cheap. But it is what it is. I mean, but I don't mind D2. I like D2, especially when it's done decent. Civivi does it decent, in my opinion. Artisans isn't bad. They do a pretty decent job. Um, Kubi's isn't too bad. Who else? All like the reputable companies that are using it aren't bad. Now, other companies, like these off-brand weird companies, they're all shit. None of them are getting better edge retention than HCR. And that's like all of them. All of them. All the off, like everything that is like just like the weird brand names that, you know, they're all using D2. Some of them, it's not even real D2. I would give $70 for a ZTO. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm the same way now. But I used to love it, man. I not the knife, the design. Before I had one, I loved it so much, man. The look of that knife was like my style before I had one. Then I had one and I loved it. I loved it because I had one. But then I found out after loving it how bad my heat treat was. It was so bad. It's so bad. It made me so upset. So upset. But and then now looking back, I see the flaws in that knife that I didn't see at the time. Your perspective changes over time, and you realize little things that you liked before and how they're not very beneficial. Now that knife is an okay knife, but it's not a great knife. If even if it's heat treated good. But I still like it though. I mean, it's a good looking knife. The action is so snappy. There's a lot of things to like about it, but there's just some things that aren't great, like the grind and the ergos. They don't match. My Kubi OS 10 just started rusting last week after 2 years. Oil yo shit, Shane. Oil that shit up. Um, Oh yeah, see the new 20.5 and D2. Wonder how Demco will do with those. Are you serious? I haven't seen that. He's doing some in D2. I didn't hear that. Fake news. Have an 0560 that I love. I got a couple ZTs here right now. But I gotta do a video on them, so or maybe we'll see S35 become the new budget steal. It basically is. That's what's happening. S35, we're finding it now for under $100 in a lot of cases. But we always got to remember, just because blank company gives it to us for $70 doesn't mean X company is bad because they're doing it for 120. You can't look at it like that. We do have to remember heat treat is a factor. Now, if X company is doing bad heat treats and blank company is doing good heat treats, then yeah, that's something you can complain about. But you can't really complain about the little bit of price difference because there's probably a lot of other factors that increase that price range. Just like even designers, like if one company is the in-house design and another company is designed by whoever, well, that designer has to be paid. So you do have to put in consideration that the price differences are going to be across the board. But we are slowly seeing S35 creep into a budget realm. That doesn't mean that just because some other companies are still doing it for $180 or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're ripping you off or anything. That Thai roach does look sweet. I got my green, my car SVV Elementum and S35 for around $85. Yep, I got one too. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, that new Liang Ma. I did put a deposit down on. I got the green my Carta version. I don't know if you guys want to get in a deposit. I know it's an expensive knife and it's not going to be around probably for 6 months or more. But I put a deposit down for the green my Carta version with the stone washed finish. Okay, let's talk about the differences between lock rock, lock plate. When I was on Red Wolf EDC's live last night telling ghost stories, me and Lefty EDC had a little discussion about lock rock, and he's got it mistaken of the real definition. But he argued that I had it wrong, right? I don't. He does. So I'm going to explain it to you guys so everybody understands how this works. So lock rock, right? There's a difference between lock rock, lock play, blade play, but you could use lock play and how's it go? You could use blade rock and Maurice, you son of a bitch. I'm going to mind wrestle you, whether you like it. We're mind wrestling now. Okay, so thank you, Maurice. Lock rock is when. Oh shit! Now my fucking thing went out of focus. Damn it, Maurice! This is your fault. He's fucking with my cameras. Okay, so lock rock is when I go like this and I'm pushing the blade this way, like this, towards the lock. So I'm checking to see if it's gonna fail, and my lock starts going like this, starts moving. Let me see if I can. Sorry, the camera's. When it starts moving. So if I'm pushing my spine towards you guys right now, and my lock starts rocking back and forth, that is lock rock. Remember, the way the terms go, it's specific. Lock rock, right? Now, lock play can also be used as blade rock, because blade is rocking back and forth. So, like, a lot of people think lock rock is when the blade is just moving, right? The lock's not moving, but you have rattle in there, right? Like this one has it a little bit. This is a button lock, and I can go. You guys hear that? That's the blade moving back and forth a little bit. That's not lock rock. The lock's not rocking. The blade has play between the stop pin and the lock, and it's shifting. So now that can be lock play, because there's play between, you know, the blade and lock, or you could even call it blade rock, because the blade is rocking back and forth. Blade rock, or, you know, lock, you know, where it's got play in it. Now, blade play, like, is side to side. Like, if you go like this and you're checking it side to side like this, that's blade play, because, and you can usually just tighten the pivot and that goes away. It's blade play. There's play in the pivot. And you can even say pivot play, things like that, but blade play. Now you can have blade play towards the lock or blade play side to side, because the blade has the play. It's it's in the blade, or the blade is the thing that's moving. Lock rock is where the lock is rocking. So those little definitions, they do get thrown around universally sometimes, but they do have a specific meaning. Now, if I have, let's say, blade play towards the lock, so I'm moving my blade is shifting back and forth, and I can feel it moving, then what I can do, if it's a liner lock or a frame lock, excuse me, I can increase the strength of my lock bar, because sometimes the reason why it has it is because your lock has moved as far as it can possibly go, meaning it's bent. It's to its farthest distance of bend. If you take the knife apart, that's as far as that lock bar will move to. So what you can do is you can increase the distance of which it will go, because it's as far as it can possibly go. Not meaning it can't go farther under the blade, meaning that's as far as it is bent, right? So that's as strong as the spring is in the lock. So what you can do is you can increase it a little bit. So now by increasing it, now underneath the blade, it puts more pressure by moving, because now it's moving farther because you're putting a little bit more tension on it, or you're bending it a little bit farther. So now it gets deeper underneath the blade, pushing it up, right? Pushing it up, getting rid of the blade play towards the lock. Now, obviously, if it's side to side, that would be in the pivot. You have to tighten the pivot. But that's 99.9% of the time. That's what it is. There are times where you can't get rid of it. That has to do with tolerances. But taking away tolerances, you tighten the pivot. But with it going this direction towards the lock back and forth, you have to increase the tension or the distance of which the lock bar can go. So you have to increase it by moving it farther underneath the blade. So and one way you can find out if that will work is by testing it, by going like this. So you open it up, deploy it really good. It's deployed. You can feel it moving and rattling. Now take and put pressure, just a little bit, not a lot. Don't squeeze it. Don't fuck your shit up. Just a little bit of pressure right there on the lock bar. Now test it. If it goes away, well, then you know all you got to do is increase the tension of your lock bar and it will go away. Fucking camera. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Work with me. Work with me, camera. Come on. Come on. Come on. Focus. Let me just get closer to it. Try that. Sometimes if I move it, it'll get better. I hate when this happens. I don't even know what it's trying to look at right now. Maybe that'll work. Just cover it up and go wham. Anyways, now, well, we went to lock rock and blade play. Okay, so now blade play, or sorry, lock rock. Okay, so now actual lock rock is when, like we were talking about, when you're putting tension towards the lock and your lock is moving, it's rocking. Everybody's had this happen. The lock starts going like this, right? It might not disengage, but it's at least moving back and forth. I have a knife over there that's doing it that I could show you guys, but I don't have it sitting right here. Now, the way you can fix that is you take apart the knife, okay? Take apart the knife. A lot of times the reason why it's doing that, Average Joe, once it pops up. Thank you, bud. From Maurice's Blue Balls EDC. Thank you, Maurice's Blue Balls. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you for the $4.99. I love them Blue Balls. Thank you. Thank you, Blue Balls from Maurice. But what you can do to fix that issue with it rocking back and forth is you can take apart the knife and take the blade specifically, because usually a lot of times the reason why it's doing that is because it's slick. So the texture between the lock bar and the lock face on the tang of the blade is too slick. So once you put pressure, it's sliding, it's slipping, slippery, slip. So what you do, take it apart and you're just scuffing. You're not taking no steel away. You do not want to take steel away. That can hurt your lock. But on the blade itself, where the lock engages, scuff it. Just that's it. Just a couple of with a fine grit sandpaper. You don't want to use like a coarse grit sandpaper because that'll remove steel and it might make it stick. You don't want it to stick. You just want a little bit of friction. So what'll happen is now, since it's not slick no more, it will, when it goes down, it'll have a little bit of texture there, so it'll stop it from slipping. So that's a way to fix it. Does it work every time? No, if the lock geometry is so bad that it's just going to fail, then no, it won't fix it, but it can. So in majority of the time, it does fix it. So, it just, it does depend on the geometry though. And you only want to scuff it right where the lock bar lands. You don't want to go over to the farthest side of where, if the lock bar was moving over, where it would go all the way over here if it was 100%. You don't want to scuff that part up. You only want to scuff right where the lock bar goes in at. Scuff that area up. Hopefully that made sense. Sometimes I try to explain this stuff and I think like, man, that probably didn't make sense, or I probably should have explained that better. 120 people in here. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for joining. Okay, now I want to talk about breaking in. Okay, so a lot of times we get knives. We get knives that they're smooth because they're on bearings, but they're not, right? Like you'll get it and you just kind of think that like, man, this thing could be so much smoother. It almost feels like there's, how do I say it? Like not sandy, but where, where you feel like that, right? You feel like it's sound, or it's that sound, you feel that, right? So how do you fix that? How can you make this thing smooth? A lot of people think, well, it's the bearings, right? Maybe I should replace the bearings. No, it has nothing to do with the bearings. We're going to talk about a way to break those in too. But gritty, yeah, it's kind of gritty, but maybe it might not even be quite gritty, but it's like it almost feels gritty. It's not ridiculously smooth. So what you could do is you take the lock bar, right? Unlock it like this. So now you need the detent ball on the blade. It has to be on the blade. Don't put pressure without it being on the blade. Then while it's on the blade, so now I can move it, get it to the farthest point and put pressure directly on the detent ball. Now go like this. Don't let it lock all the way. Open and close. I'm putting a lot of pressure, now a ton of pressure, but I'm putting pressure right there. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking in a detent track, because what's happening, the reason why it's gritty, the reason why it's not ultra smooth, is because there's a satin finish on the blade, or a stone washed finish, or whatever the finish is on the blade, or the coating, right? So the detent ball is moving over the satin finish or the stone wash or the coating, whatever it is that's creating that grittiness. So what you're doing is you're breaking through all of that satin finish or whatever and making a track. And once that track is broken in, it'll be smooth. So that's the reason why a lot of people say, once it breaks in, it'll be very smooth. What they're talking about is a detent track. That's it. That's the only thing that's going to break in is the detent track. Now, arguably, your bearings can break in, but the detent track is 90% of your smoothness, especially if you move your lock bar and it goes like this. If your knife goes like that really fast, just bang, when you unlock it, then you already know it's the detent. Because why isn't it falling right now? It's only when I shake it, it'll fall without that lock bar. Once that tension of that lock bar is on there, now all of a sudden it's not dropping, unless if I start shaking it, because that tension from the lock bar is putting pressure on the blade, which the detent ball is touching the blade. And the reason why it feels gritty is because the detent ball is rolling over a satin finish. So by opening and closing it 1,000 times like this, just sit there for like 10 minutes going like this with pressure on the detent ball. Don't let it close. Don't let it open up all the way. You just keep doing it, and it'll break itself in nice and smooth. Now, how do you do that to the bearings, right? How do you do that to the bearings? So what you do is you take your pivot. Now, you don't want to do this too much. You can, if you guys do any of the shit I tell you and you fuck up your knives, it's on you. It's not on me, okay? I'm just telling you guys right now. Forewarning, you are responsible for damaging your knives, not Neevesknives. What you can do is, if you want to break in the bearings by making a, because the bearings on the that are in the pivot, they also can make a track. They can do the same thing. Now, if you have sometimes you have the washers, and the bearings roll on the washers. So sometimes those aren't clean and the surface of them isn't very smooth, and you'll feel the bearings rolling on that. Right. Sometimes they it'll be just on titanium. Sometimes, just depends on how your bearings are. But what you can do to make those break in is tighten your pivot. Tighten your pivot very tight to where when you go like this, it won't deploy. When you do that and you go like that, it'll just go wah wah because the bearings aren't rolling smoothly. So while the bearings are very tight in the pivot, do the same thing like this. Make those bearings break in a track. Then after a while, after you've done that a whole bunch, and don't do it too tight because you don't want to rip the bearings out or damage the bearings, which, let's be honest, those ceramic bearings, you're not going to be able to damage anyways, but you don't want to fuck nothing up. So just enough pressure to where they're not rolling good. You know that they're being squeezed. So as you open and close it, it's going to help break in a bearing track. So that is how you can rush a break-in or break your knives in if they're on bearings. And you could do the same thing with phosphor bronze washers. You could, but it's easier just to take it apart and polish the washers and possibly the surface they move on. Can you fix detent lash? Not easily. Now that's the one thing that sucks. Okay, I'll be honest. Now, if you can go like this, so when you have detent lash, right? So let me grab a different knife. I keep using the same knife. If you go like this and you have detent lash, right? Now, I gotta use a different knife. Sorry. If you go like this and you have detent lash when you touch your flipper tab or your blade, whatever. If you can put pressure on the detent ball and make it go away, then yes, you can fix it. But 90% of the time, you can't. 90% of the time, it won't go away. So what you can do is there's a couple things you can do. One, you take it apart and you can check your detent hole. You can see if there's any lint or anything in that detent hole, because if there's lint in the detent hole, it'll stop it from letting the ball drop in. Also, check your stop pin. Richie B told me this. Sometimes lint will catch around the stop pin, and if you clean it off, because what it's doing is it's pushing the ball out just a little bit because the blade is not dropping completely in place because there's like lint in between the stop pin and the blade. So you can clean the stop pins off, make sure the detent ball is cleaned up, and if that doesn't work, you're fucked. The only thing you could do is get a new detent ball, or a new detent ball. Possibly your detent hole might be too small, and if that's the case, you might be able to get a new detent hole, by increasing the size, but usually it's the opposite way. Can you make a frame lock less strong? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why would you want to make a frame lock less strong? I don't get it. Frame, I don't know. If it's bumpy, bent or tightened and needs that. If it's bumpy, bent over, tightened, and needs that. Is there any way to break in the detent on a liner lock? Okay, so the way I break in my liner locks, I take the top scale off. And I do the exact same thing. Like I did that on oh man, American Blade Works, Model 1 version 6. I did that. So you can polish a track. So one thing, you mark it all off, right? So while it's closed, mark everything off and make sure that you're not going to mess with anything that's exposed, so you don't see it, right? And then after it's marked off, meaning like mark it here, make sure you can see everything, open it up, and then trace it around here. Then take the blade out, and you can technically polish the area that the bearing's going to roll, but you could just take it apart and just do the same thing. Just squeeze the liner while you're opening and closing the knife. It might be a little more frustrating on some knives, but there's ways to do it. I've done it a couple times on liner locks. You just got to take the scale off. Now, another way you could is go like this and then wedge. If you have something thin enough, you can wedge something in there to put pressure in between the liner and the scale right there, and then do it. So, like a card or something thin. I'm gonna go all the way down. So if I miss any questions, you guys really want the answers, ask them again. How do I fix my Emerson with a super light detent and it's a liner lock? Increase the lock bar strength. So take it apart and slightly, a little goes such a long way. Like people have to understand that when you adjust the detent, it does not take much. You will go a long way. You'll stop yourself from being able to open. It'll be so strong of a detent, you'll be fucked up. So increase the liner lock strength just a little bit. Take it apart and say if your liner lock is bent, this way a little bit, bend it just a little bit more. Not much though. Remember, you're not even going to see it move that much. You're just basically increasing the strength, so it might stay in the exact same spot but be stronger because you bent it a little bit farther, and so the strength is going to increase. What kind of knife does a woodchuck use to chuck wood? I don't know. Just got my American Blade Works V5 back, and Michael got it dead center. Bearings are still meh. Okay, so if you watch the video I did on mine, I tuned mine really good. So I took it apart. I did put new bearings in it, so I'll admit I put some Gillian bearings in it, but that's not what made it smooth. It wasn't smooth because the finish on the blade from the factory is exactly what I was talking about earlier. It was stonewashed. So my detent ball is rolling against a stonewashed surface. So what I did was I took it apart and I traced where the detent ball on the lock bar rolls. I traced just a little line. I took a Dremel with a polishing bit and I polished a line first. That's the first thing I did. That's not going to make it ultra smooth, just so you guys know, but that's going to take away 90% of the work you're going to have to do to break that detent ball in. Like it'd probably take 10 years to break it in. So instead of taking 5 years or whatever to break it in, I take away and I polish that surface area where the detent ball rolls. Then I put it together aside from the one side of the scale, but I put it all together where the liner lock, I can put pressure on it, and I put it together and I put pressure on the detent ball while moving the blade up and down. Then I broke the track in, and it easily broke in because I polished it first. If I would have started with a stonewash surface, it would have took forever to break that in because it's bumpy. Now I'm at least starting with a flat surface before I break in the detent ball. Watch my video, American Blade Works. I did a review on it, and I show exactly what I did to fix the issues I had. Cue ball's telling me there's a bell. Where the hell is the bell? I don't see a bell. Oh, there it is. There she is, Willow. Therein lies all problems with my model of Elementum. Thank you. What was the problem with the Elementum? They're smooth. I mean, all mine are smooth. I had none that were gritty. All mine were mega smooth. I've got 5 of them. Well, I had 4 of the regular ones. I've given some away. I have 2 button locks. One is a gift for you guys. It's actually right here. But I have 3 of the regular models, an S35 one and 2 D2 versions. Oh man. What's up, Chris? Oh man, eating mashed potatoes and baked chicken. Just got gravy on my beard. At least it's a beautiful beard, right? At least it's a beautiful beard. I need something real good after this. You got me hungry now. I gotta catch up. Thwack for the bad guy's ears. Thwack for the bad guy's ears. Yes, exactly. Yo, Jared, what CBB button locks are coming out? They have I forget the names, but they have two models coming out that have flippers and thumb studs, and they're button lock. So I forget the names of them though. Bought the Damascus. It has a coating. Feels like it's on sandpaper, not bearings. So most likely that's the detent ball, Willow. So that's the first thing I would check. Like I said, the way you can find out is you can find out by releasing the lock bar. So like I said, if you go like this and it just falls like that, then, or just release the lock bar like this, take the pressure off and then go like this. If it's smooth, it's just the detent ball. So check that first. And then once you find out that it is the detent ball, now you know that you need to do my thing where I said, squeeze the detent, go like that. Put some pressure and do that like 500 times. Do it for a while. You're breaking in a track into hardened steel, but the ceramic is harder than the hardened steel. You're not going to hurt the detent unless if you allow it to go onto the blade. Like if you allow it to open up all the way and it's on there like that, and then you squeeze and try to push the blade onto the detent, yeah, that can fuck it up. You can rip your detent ball out. But as long as it's on the blade and you're on the track and you don't let it go all the way open, or past where the detent ball goes like this, as long as you don't let that happen, right? Keep it on the blade. Make sure it's on the track, on the blade when you're doing that. Okay, word of the day. We got to get to word of the day. Now, because you guys didn't remind me, fucks. I said to remind me. It's not smooth. It feels like sandpaper. Nothing smooth about it. Like I said, try what I said. And release the lock bar strength. And if it's still gritty, try loosening the pivot. Try that. See if there's too much tension on the pivot. That might be the problem. It might just be too much tension on the pivot. Have you cleaned it? Is there grit in the bearing? So clean it. Do all the processes of which, you know, to make sure you can narrow it down to the exact thing that's wrong. And if it is the bearings rolling on a Damascus finish, you can polish that part of the Damascus because it might be the etching that they used to bring the Damascus out. That's most likely what it is. CVV is so boring right now with a million different elementums. Oh, fuck. There's only two different elementums. Well, all right. There's three elementums. You got the fixed blade, the regular one, and the button lock. It's a badass fixed blade, though. A badass button lock and a badass regular one. Okay, word of the day. Plunge grind. So I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, that's an easy one. I wanted to learn something. Well, there's a lot of fucking new members, right? There's a lot of new guys, and they might not know what plunge grind means, so let's help them out. So I drew a picture. And so first, let's talk about what a plunge grind is. Okay, so the plunge grind is, well, first let's break down the word plunge, right? When we're talking about a plunge grind, plunge is it dropping, right? So it going from a high point to a low point, the drop. And then we have the grind, right? Grind, you know what that is. That's the different thicknesses and different finishes on a blade. So this part is ground. It's a grind. Even the top swedge, that's a grind. The top swedge right here is a grind. Now the plunge grind is going to be the difference between the thickest part. I drew a knife right here. So I drew a knife. This is the knife. Can you guys see it really good? See this right here? That's the edge. You see the teeth in the edge. Here's the flipper tab. Here's the pivot, right? So here's the flipper tab, and this is like it being opened like this. See this? See the flipper tab and the edge, pivot. So the difference between where the thickest point is by the flipper tab, right? That drop from the thickest point down to the grind of the knife, right? That is the plunge grind. So the thickness change from the thickest part to the thinnest, or to the cutting grind. So if we look at, let me see if I got a better knife to do this with. There's lots of different plunge grinds depending on the knife. But if we look at this one, we can see here's the flipper tab, right? Thickest part right here. The grind, sorry, I was trying to, I gotta cover the screen up. This sucks. I wish I could point it down. Right here where it drops down from the thickest point to this point is the plunge grind. So from right here, right there, where it drops down, that is a plunge grind, because it's basically where, and you know, it plunges also down from the spine too. This is a plunge basically, but we're talking specifically about near the choil area. So the choil of the knife has the plunge grind right there. Even Spyderco's, right? Look at Spyderco's. Where's the plunge grind on this? The plunge grind on this is going to be right here. This line you see right there shining at you. That line, or if I go this way, this line right there is the plunge grind. It's just different on a Spyderco, but it's still the same concept. The thickest part is right here. This is the thickest part where the lettering is, where you can read USA. That's the thickest point. Thinnest point is the grind. It's dropping down from the thickest point, but it rapidly does it. It goes from this thickest point down to the grind. And that little line right there is the plunge. So when we're talking about a plunge grind being done well, I guess it does depend on the knife and what it's for. We don't want it to hit the edge. We want it to be ground where, let's see if I have a different knife, where it's away from the edge, because if it hits the edge, kind of like this, how the Kubi, man, I hate live cameras. They suck, man. You can't get anything to focus. I hate it. It's bad for me to explain things. I should just do definitions instead of actually showing, because it's not going to show up. And I'm sorry, guys, but you guys get the point. You don't want the plunge grind to hit the edge, because then when you sharpen, it's going to, because since the plunge grind plunges down, right? When you sharpen it, it's going to be thicker steel, because that's thicker than the edge. So it'll show and you will see it, and it will make a mark, and it's called a smile. You don't want to put a smile on your edge. And I should have picked a better word of the day, because, man, I hate trying to show things up close on a live camera. I'm eventually going to get a better live camera, something in 4K. Maurice has left the buildings. See, Ryder is playing. All right, Maurice, I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate all the donations. I'll see you next week, man. Or this week. Well, I guess it'd be next week. Jared, does Kara know you stabbed that dog? What are you talking about, Shane? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Somebody delete that comment, please. No dogs are ever hurt in the makings of my videos. Yeah, I've you know what? Anybody who's actually interested and wants to know more about that, go and watch my plunge grind video. I explain it a lot better than that. I'll have a better word of the day next time. I'm going to pick better, since we just started these word of the days, I need to pick word of the days where I can explain it in good detail without having to show it. And if I do show it, I need to be able to show it back here, not up close, because it's very difficult with the lives, because I can't do any close-ups. It's just not clear enough. What time is it? Oh shit, it's 9:04. We gotta go to story time. Oh, I do want to mention one thing really quick. People complaining about knife companies doing the exact same designs over and over and over. I guess a lot of people could call that safe designs, right? They're making safe designs. The designs are very simple designs that everybody will want, right? Say a drop point blade with neutral ergos. Good access to the lock bar, good flipping action, blah, blah, blah. Just a very simple design, and they just keep repeating it, right? Different materials, different this, maybe move a little thing over here, change the hardware, same knife with just a little bit of, little changes. Lefty, you here? Right, like Lefty, exactly, like Lefty. Always complaining about knife companies doing the exact same designs. Yet, will shit all over the companies like Lefty that actually hire and take on designs from new designers that do weird, extravagant, interesting designs. And will only buy designs that are like all the rest of them. So the reason why the companies keep repeating those designs is because they sell, right? They sell. So it's a safe design for them to sell. It's a very useful design. Now, if you want different designs and you're sick of this company making the exact same design or that company, try a different company. There's lots of companies doing weird designs or unique designs or unique this or crazy that are amazingly good quality. And in a lot of cases, you can get them for a really good deal. I'm not naming any brands or anything. I'm just saying, you can get some weird designs or cool designs that are very, very well done from a lot of companies. But yeah, if you only keep dealing with the same exact companies, then yeah, you're going to get their style or their designs. Story time. Better be a good Halloween story. Damn it. I should have came up with a good Halloween story. I said Halloween stories last night though. I did them on, if you want to hear my Halloween story, I did it on Red Wolf EDC's live last night. I'm not sure if I have any good Halloween ones. Maybe I can think of one though. All right, let me take a hit and then we'll what the fuck? We Esprit shiny hail generally unavailable. The Esprit should be coming back though. Well, they come in different sizes, but right. How many? If you're gonna say like Ray Laconico, same design 100 times over, for sure. But he does have a couple different ones. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yo, Jared, for try now, have you tried the Koof 4.0 or 3.0? I'm not sure which one I tried, but I did try the Koof. I did try the Koof. I just can't remember which one it was. It had like the Teletubby thing on the top, where the the flipper tab is directly poking straight up from the middle. That's the one I tried. It was really good though. I really like that knife. I like the Koof quite a bit. And since I like the Koof and the EDC, oh, what the hell is it called? The Field Duty and the Field Duty EDC. That's why I got that new one, the 3.5-inch version. All right, story time. I hate that towing by thing. What? That's the Koof V2. Okay, so that's the one I tried. I haven't tried the other ones. Oh. Oh. Kittens and Coyotes and How You Met Kara. Charles Wood, you son of a bitch. Holy cow. Story, no politics. No, it's not politics. Charles Wood, thank you for the donation, man. That's an amazing donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Holy shit. That's awesome. Okay, so this story, I'll tell maybe one or two other ones. This one might go a little quick. I'm not positive. We're gonna leave the 50 bones up there for a minute. So I wound up getting injured on my wrist. I actually got a pretty nasty scar there now. So what happened was well, aside from having a drug addiction, I was doing construction and all kinds of things, and you get nasty shit when you're doing construction. Anyways, I got an infection under the skin, you know. And you could say, probably addiction probably had a little bit to do with it too, a lot of different reasons. Anyways, so but the point is it got swollen underneath the skin, right? And it started turning red, turned into a baseball. I've told this story before about the thing, but I'm going to tell the story about my hospital experience. So, I let it go for a couple days, and that's what fucked me up because it was red, it was warm. That's the first sign of infection, right? Or one of the signs of infection. It turned red, like bright red, and it was somewhat swollen, but not like swollen. And it was warm to the touch. That instantly tells you that there's an infection, right? So, but I didn't do anything about it. I just figured my immune system will fight it off. I'll be okay. Well, 2 days later, it swells up into a softball. I mean, it's so big, I can't even move my hand is swollen like a balloon. Like my fingers are like this big around. I mean, it's insane how big it is. Whatever you guys are thinking right now, add more. It was big. It was messed up. Like it was really bad. And I realized like if I don't take care of this right now, it'll have to be cut off for sure, right? Um, or it's gonna explode, basically. Now, how much more can my skin stretch? Well, I was refusing to go because of addiction, right? I didn't want to get trapped into a hospital because being trapped into a hospital is like the scariest thing ever, right? So I didn't go at first, but then when I had no choice now, I have to go. So when I went in there. As soon as they seen me, they were like, they were freaking out. Like they were like, they're possibly gonna have to cut my hand off. Like they were freaking out. They said, we got to rush you into emergency surgery right now. Like, so I instantly got admitted. Instantly. Like there was no, and mind you, I'm in the worst hospital ever. This is a hospital like people get shot and they don't even stop there. They're like, go to the next one. I don't want to go to this hospital. People die there. That's the way it is. And it ain't no joke. Like I had somebody I knew that died there that went in there for a broken leg. Literally, they overdosed him. He had a broken leg and they overdosed him. So this is not a place people want to go. I've been to this hospital many times. I've always had issues. I've never heard anybody with a good experience at this hospital. So I go to the hospital and they admit me right away. And now they rush me in for emergency surgery. So I get the surgery done. And when they do the surgery, they have to cut it all out. Right. So they cut it all out. And now I got a giant gaping hole in my wrist. They had to remove so much that they couldn't stitch the hole up. The hole wouldn't stitch up. So they left a hole like this, and I can like see into my wrist. Well, during the time I'm in the hospital, making sure they're flushing all the infection out of my body on IV and all this shit, I'm doing crazy shit because I'm a complete fuck up. So I'm doing all kinds of stupid shit. So first of all, I can't handle not smoking, so I have to smoke. So I have people smuggle me in cigarettes and everything. I had everything smuggled in like an idiot. And it kind of reminds me of my dad because I've seen my dad do that shit, smoking cigarettes in the middle of ICU. Anyways, so I'm in there. My roommate in my my room, at the hospital, he's a guy. He had I don't remember some type of lung cancer, something weird. I forget exactly what it was. Older black dude, really cool. Me and him were talking, and I told him like, listen, man, I'm just letting you know right now, I'm about to light up a fucking cigarette. Like I'm gonna smoke a cigarette, and he was totally cool about it. And I said, well, listen, I'm probably gonna get caught. I was like, you're not gonna snitch me out, right? And he's like, nah, fuck no. He's like, it's all good, go ahead. So I went into the bathroom. I go into the bathroom and, I light it up, getting my hits in. I got, the fan going, so I'm trying to blow it into the fan, right? Into the fan to to not make it so smoky. And I'm not like just bogging the place out, but I'm getting my hits in, right? I figured they're already going to know. And I try to do it in a certain time. And he even tells me, he's like, because he's been there for a long time. So he's like, listen, do it between this time and this time, because that's when the longest break is between them coming in here. And I'm like, perfect. All right, perfect. I got a couple hours for the smoke to clear. Well, I do it, right? I do it. As soon as I get back to my bed, the fucking nurse walks in like you're not supposed to be in here for another 2 hours. So she comes in and she instantly, I could see her face, but I acted like I was acting like I was sleeping or something. I don't remember. But like I looked at her and I can tell she knew, but she didn't say nothing, right? She leaves. About an hour later, the I forget who, somebody from administration, something comes and starts asking me like if I was smoking in there. I said, nope, nope, wasn't me. I don't smoke, or I wasn't smoking. I said, it's probably my clothes. My clothes smells like smoke. That's probably what she smelled. Right. And she's like, then she asks my roommate, right? She starts talking to him and he sticks up for me, hands down, stuck up for me. He's like, he wasn't smoking. He didn't do anything. He's been sleeping the whole time. He stuck up for me, which he was awesome. I give him credit. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for having my back and not even knowing who I am. So they're upset though. Like they know he's lying. They know I'm lying. And I already was like doing other things. Like I said, I was smuggling a lot of things in there. But then eventually they I'm trying to think, there was a reason why like I was ready to leave, like sign myself out and leave. I forget exactly why, but the hospital messed something up. I forget what they messed up. They messed something up. And of course, this hospital messed something up. I can't remember exactly what, but they messed something up and it pissed me off so bad. I was irate. Like I was like, fuck this place. I'm leaving, like take this shit out of me. Like I'm gone. And I forget exactly what it was, but I was ready to go to another hospital because this place is crazy, man. Um, what the hell? Back to TV, haha, take care. Come sub to me after Jared's live. Need the boost, guys, if you don't care. Definitely go and check out EDC Journeys channel. If you guys ain't subbed to him, go and sub to EDC Journeys channel. But that was the story. I guess I could probably tell a couple other short stories. But I remember going to the hospital for my dad when he was in the hospital, and he's telling me to give him cigarettes, and I'm like, no. I felt bad because I never told my dad no. Whatever he needed, I did. And I kind of grew up with that type of mindset where you don't tell him no. You don't tell your dad no, first of all, especially when you see him in a vulnerable situation. You just do whatever it takes, right? And my family's like, don't give him any cigarettes. Don't give him any cigarettes. He won't be able to heal if he's smoking. And so when I go in there, I see him, give me one of the come over here things. I come over there, I kneel down, bend over, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, give me a cigarette. And I backed up. I said, because I didn't want him to slap the fuck out of me or something. So I backed up. I said, no. I said, I can't give you a cigarette. I was like, first of all, you're going to get kicked out of here. He's like, I don't care. Give me a cigarette. And I was like, Dad, I'm not giving you a cigarette. He looked at me with the fucking look of evil. Give me a cigarette. Give me a fucking cigarette. And I'm like, fuck, so I slipped him a cigarette. All right, slipped him a cigarette, slipped him the lighter. Next thing I know, it's like 2 a.m. I'm getting a phone call. From my old man. Come and get me. He's like, they're kicking me out of here. They're kicking me out of here for smoking. And I can hear him fighting with the nurses and the doctors, telling them to go fuck themselves and all kinds of shit. And they're like, and he's like, they're telling me I gotta go. And I can hear the nurse in the back saying, we're not telling you have to go. We're telling you can't smoke cigarettes in here. If you smoke another cigarette in here, we're going to have to kick you out. And So I didn't wind up having to go get him. They did let him stay, but it was a big ordeal. I wound up going all the way up there and talking to the nurses and everything else, and they told me what happened and how he had it all fucking bogged with sick. But mind you guys, he's not in his own room. He's in ICU. There's just curtains. Like he's not like he's in the ICU we were in at that time. There was just like curtains separating each one. Like it wasn't like it was the worst place to smoke a cigarette in the hospital ever. This one is the Savivi the Elijah Isham design. I can't think of the name of it. Somebody in the comments probably knows. This is one of Fiend's knives. I can't think of the name of it. It's kind of a newer design, front flipper. It's kind of like a big McKenna. I got 6 years, just smoke some margarine. That's why I'm happy I have these, because man, I could smoke these everywhere and get away with it. Like I can be anywhere and get away with smoking one of these. One, you can hold it in and it'll just go away, but two, you can blow it in your sleeve and it's gone. Like there really ain't no smell or nothing. The Lazar, yes, thank you. The Savivi Lazar, that's what this is. Savivi Lazar. The one thing that sucks on it, good knife. It is a Persian blade, almost a straight back, but it is slightly Persian. The lock bar access sucks though. Another Savivi with bad access to the lock bar. It's pissing me off with these guys because I love Savivi and they normally knock every little aspect of a good user out of the park. Like it's like they hit everything. And lately they said, let's stop worrying about lock bar access. So me and Kara met. It's not a good story. We met through drugs, to be honest, on the streets, through affiliated people. Basically how. It's not a princess story or anything like that. We were both addicted to drugs, and we met on the streets through mutual friends. And what the hell was it? She wound up coming to my trailer. I had a trailer. She wound up coming to the trailer, and me and her kind of just hit it off. We started talking, and we had like a deep conversation. First time we ever really hung out. I had met her one other time before that, but like just like on a quick exchange type thing. And so we never got to really talk at all, like period. But then when she came to my trailer, I was like, oh, this is my opportunity. So we started talking. We were just talking about all kinds of shit. And we just hit it off. And then we've like been together ever since, basically. Like since that day, seriously, like it seemed like from that day we met, we literally been together the entire time. I think they're good. I think they save a lot of people. I think obviously with any good thing, there's bad things about it, right? There's always going to be ups and downs and negatives and things like that. But I think for the good it does, I think it does a lot of good. It saves a lot of people's lives. It saved my life. So I can't I can't knock something that I know a lot of people's it saved. I also know a lot of people that, I do think you do have to be in the right mindset and be ready to be done. But if you are, right, if you really are and you truly are and you're truly fucking done and you're like, I'm not another day of my life type of done, then it'll be very beneficial to you and it can save your life. Because it doesn't matter how done you are when you're the chemicals in your brain are off. If the chemicals in your brain are off, there's nothing you can do but succumb to it, right? It doesn't matter. So without being locked up, there ain't no stopping. But when you have medication, it helps, the chemicals in your brain, it helps you straighten out. So I think they're amazing. I think it's an amazing thing. As long as, it's you have a good doctor and everything. I was blessed to have a very good doctor. Methadone works too. I've been on both, but have done way better on methadone. A lot of people, yeah, I'm not going to knock methadone. I think methadone is also very good. My one downfall to methadone is that it's it's a lot easier to abuse than Suboxone. Suboxone, it's nearly impossible to abuse for somebody who's an that is addicted because if you're not addicted to anything, then no, or yes, you can definitely abuse it. But when you're already addicted, it doesn't do anything for you. All it does is make you feel normal, right? You can't get high on it, you can't get messed up, but you feel normal. But the difference from not being able to eat, not being able to sleep, having, you know, hot flashes and hot colds and like, being on the verge of death to being able to eat, being able to sleep, being able to work, being able to function, being able to do all that, it's, such a good feeling. So, but that's what it does. Instead of being able to get you high, methadone can actually get you high. So there is a downside to that, which can backfire on somebody. Now, like I said, with everything, if you do it right, then yeah. And I've seen a lot of people that have had great success with it. So I wouldn't knock it, but I do think, in my opinion, for somebody getting off, I personally think Suboxone is better, but I do know people that respond better on methadone and would rather take methadone, but I think it's not as good long term, right? So I do think that Suboxone is better if you're going to do something long term. I agree, Derek. It is way harder to detox off. It takes 8 to 12 months to start feeling normal again. You have to taper extremely low. Yeah, you want to taper extremely slowly, very, very slow tapers. So you drop such a small amount that you don't ever feel it. Right? You don't want to ever put yourself into a position of having withdrawals. So you just do it on a very, very, very slow taper. Make it take a very long time. Don't rush that taper. Right. Unless if you're dramatically going to do it like straight out of rehab type thing where like you're getting off, you get on it and you dramatically get off fast, but you're going to feel the effects that way. And most likely, and the reason why I don't agree with that is because I don't know anybody who's been successful. I don't know anybody who did a rapid detox that didn't go back. Nobody. But I do know people that did, a transition between going into, like getting back healthy, getting back to work, eating good and doing all those things. Then after that point, transferring over by slowly tapering like that. I've, seen lots of successes. Y'all talk about this stuff. I have no idea about this going over my head. Guessing it's a good thing. Yes, that is a good thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. But we can go back to telling other stories in knives. We don't have to talk about this. 11 years now. Good for you, Brett. That's awesome. I tried to tell everyone 1 milligram per week taper here, and it's been smooth. 1 milligram taper a week. Yeah, tapering like 1 milligram a week, and then I would even say, after tapering like a couple weeks, then stay on that for a week or two, then another milligram. But yeah, just a very, very, very slow taper. Five to 8 bars before I went into rehab. Yeah, we've all been there. What? Another slicey? Who monster? What the fuck? These blades. What? Another slicey? Who? Monster? Whiskers into story time now. All right, let's talk about something else. I did have a couple other topics. I don't think we hit everything. You love hairy balls in your face. Okay. All right. Whatever you like, I guess. I did want to talk about detents. And we can continue talking about stories, but sounds like we are going the I am an Indian man thing. Reservoir Dogs. Okay, so detents and flipper tabs. So I see people testing detents, and seeing if they're strong enough for the flip. Now, I think, detents are obviously very important, having a good, strong detent or a good enough detent. But I think the one problem with having a strong detent is the flipper tab. A lot of times the flipper tab isn't comfortable enough for a strong a strong detent. So what winds up happening is they put a light detent, but a good enough flipper tab, excuse me, to get a nice thwack, right? To be able to hammer it down. But if you increase the detent, then that same flipper tab would end up being uncomfortable. So I think we should not try, because I think some people, like, they try to do a detent and they just pull it down until it breaks, right? When a lot of times a detent, you do have to try a little bit, not just break the detent, because that same detent that will do this is the same detent that'll do this, right? Very, very easily and very reliably, and you will never fail it, not one time, especially after you've carried it and used it, right? If you've carried it and used it and gotten used to it, then you will instantly be able to flip it out without an issue. And I mean strong too. That same flipper tab, without flick of the wrist, without anything, you'll just be able to break the detent and it'll fly open every time. However, if you increase that same detent and you did make it stronger, the flipper tab might be pokey. So I think advocating for comfortable flipper tabs is very important, because in that case, then when you do increase it, or if you increase the detent strength, or if they do, right, that flipper tab will be nice and comfortable for you to flip. I always say, like, the most comfortable flipper tab I've ever felt is on the Tuya NV2. That is such a well-tuned detent and a good. The relationship between your finger, the flipper tab, and the detent is like perfect. Now, this knife right here actually has a strong detent, and this thing is, I can't fail it. This thing is very snappy. This is one of those shielded knives. Surprisingly, man, the action is really good on such a budget knife. I'm trying to fail it. It's hard to fail. But the flipper tab's also very comfortable. So it's okay. If it had a different shaped flipper tab, I would not like this strong of a detent. It'd be just a little too strong. But if you look at the flipper tab, it's got a nice pad for your finger. It's not pokey. You literally put your finger right on top of it. Now, I think, like that being a thing, flipper tab comfortable, because we do see it a lot where companies are making slick flipper tabs like this one. This one is a weak detent, but the flipper tab it's literally slippery. So it's a light detent, but it's easy to deploy. I could deploy it every time, but I can also fail it anytime I want. It's very light detent. But because it's so smooth, I can easily flip it every time. Now, if this detent was stronger, I would slip off of this thing. It's so slick, this flipper tab. I mean, it's slippery as hell. So I think having a flipper tab, one, that's comfortable, and two, is not slick, is what we need. Because then when you increase the detent, which you can do at home, anybody can do, then it'll be really good. Slippery flipper tabs, aka fingernail breakers. Yes, man. Or even, like, you ever had it where, like, you skip off of it and it just hurts the pad of your finger? Oh, it kills me. I hate that. The 0562 has one of my favorite flipper tabs, even without jimping. Really? Okay. Jared, what do you think of the Cobra's detent? The Cobra's detent is really nice. I know you said it's light. I don't mind it. I think because I kind of do a hook. So I kind of hook it and pull down. Now, I can easily fail it. And maybe it is a little lighter than it should be. I guess it could be increased a little bit, but I have no problem drilling it out every single time without fail. I would never fail this without trying. That's how I look at it. Like, if I'm not going to fail it without, like, literally, I have to try to fail it, then it's good to me. I don't have to try to fail it, and if it fails, then it's bad. That doesn't count to me, because I can almost fail any knife. Now, like, Like lefty, he does this where he pulls down, pulls down, pulls down, and then breaks it. And if it doesn't snap open, then he considers it a late detent. And that can be a yes for some models, but I think that sometimes it's not accurate because depending on if it has multiple deployment options, right? Because you have to be able to have a lighter detent for other flipping options than others, right? But like with this, it could be increased a little bit, but not much, man. Because you can see I'm not even trying right now, and it hammers out. Now, if I try, I mean, I can snap this thing out hard. So, and remember, the stronger the detent, the the faster that lock bar will move its way over, because the stronger that lock bar is, the because the strength going underneath the tang of the blade, like when I open it, the lock bar locks up underneath the tang, right? If there's more pressure pushing this way, well, now it's going to slowly move over faster. I'm not saying like right away. I just mean something that maybe I got to put some Loctite on this one. Something that maybe would have taken 2 years to travel all the way over might take a year and a half or something. I don't know. Or maybe not at all, you know. What's your favorite knife steel for EDC? I don't know. I got a lot. K390, Crewwear, 14C28N. I really like LMAX. I like a lot of steels. I'm a steel nerd, so I don't think I've ever called myself a nerd, but I'm kind of a steel nut. I'll say a steel dummy. I'm kind of a steel dummy. So since I'm a steel dummy, I like them all. I even like HCR for the right price. It's just I don't prefer it for the wrong price. And I think that since we can get good steels, it doesn't belong on knives really anymore that are over $10, in my opinion. Right? You can get better steels for $20 than HCR. So I don't, but there's still a place for it. I think all the knives that you see for $5-10 should have HCR on it. In that case, great steel. But when we start pushing it up there, and it depends on the price, and heat treat. But assuming that the heat treats are good, I love LMAX. I love K390. I love 14C28N. I love Crewwear. I like a lot of steels. I even like S30V. I love S30V. I think I like S30V more than I like S35VN. What's your most used knife and steel? I use all my shits, but I think there's a difference between most used and most abused. But probably 14C28N, my most used steel, or S35. I use a lot of S35 because there's so many knives with S35 or M390. I had a fucking million knives in M390, S35, and S30V. So I guess it'd be between the four: 14C, S30V, S35, and M390. That's my most used. And in a lot of cases, it's interchangeable because, it's hard to say which one I've used more between S30 and S35. Probably S35, but it's hard for me to say which one I've used more between M390 and S35. So I know which one I like more. Killing the trees. T-Bass, I feel like all thumb studs suck and my thumbs don't work well. My TRM Atom and Neutron are the same of the best action and sliciest knives I have. Yeah, TRM knives are really good. I really like them. I'm wondering, because I really like the Shadow. The Shadow, is their access lock knife. I'm wondering if I'm going to like this new knife that's coming from Tuya better than that. It's going to be a tough one, probably. I don't know, though. What do you I love K390. Didn't I say K390? Yeah, I love K390. Bang, right here. I love me some K390. It takes such a stupid sharp edge. And I personally don't have a problem with it rusting. I just keep it dry. I always wipe it off. I always keep it dry, keep it nice and oiled. No problems. The Shadow. Yeah, the Shadow. Love the shadow, but I'm wondering if that new Tuya is going to be better than the shadow. Probably not. I'll probably still like the shadow a little bit more, but maybe it might be a close one though, because that's an integral. So it's going to be an integral access lock with out of carbon fiber. What's a good sharpening theory for using Spyderco's S30V without it chipping? I've never, so the theory of S30V chipping, it's a myth. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have an S30V that's not chippy, because any steel, I can pull up any steel. Watch this. This steel can be chippy. This steel can be chippy. Any of them can be chippy depending on the heat treat. Now, S30V by nature is not chippy. It's been proven over and over. Even Super Steel Steve did a test on it, I think multiple times. He started his channel based on that theory, because by nature, it's not chippy. Now, is it as tough as S35? No, it's not. It's not as tough, but it has better edge retention because it's not as tough, right? You know, S35 is a little bit tougher, but it doesn't have as good as edge retention as S30V. Now, most of the time, I bet most of the people that had S30V and said it was chippy had a burnt edge. And that's what the testing showed a lot of the times from people's saying that theirs had a chippy edge. It just had a burnt edge. It needed like 2 or 3 sharpenings before. And that's with any steel that can happen. So it's not just S30V. So I don't have a problem with the chipping with a polished edge. Or now, if you have a polished edge and it's chipping, it's probably the type of use you're doing or type of cutting you're doing. And in that case, I would say put a micro bevel on it, right? Put a micro bevel, or don't put such a low angle on it. And in some cases, you're going to find different steels because of the heat treat that say, even though they are very sharp with a polish, they microchip. Maximet is a great example. Maximet takes an amazing polish, fucking stupid sharp polished, but it has, you know, the issue with or it can. I'm not saying always, but it can have microchippy problems with a really good mirror polish, especially if it's at a low angle. If you use a high angle, meaning a small edge, you know, instead of a low angle, a high angle edge, then you're going to have less likely of a chance of it chipping. But when you get a real low slicey angle, like 15 degrees or something, you're going to have a lot bigger chance of it chipping and microchipping. Metal Complex is not coming. I'm coming for him. That son of a bitch is in here. Where's one of my moderators? Get him out of here. I'm coming for you, man. I'm coming. Oh, wait, it doesn't work that way. Oh, he's got jokes. He's got fucking jokes. Oh, it's on now, Big Daddy. It's on. I told you a long time ago you would do it, but yeah, try to butter me up now. You see, I'm getting close, though, don't you? He's feeling the heat, guys. He's feeling the heat. He's trying to get me, once I pass him, to throw him some breadcrumbs. And I already told him I'd think about it. But after now, I don't know. No breadcrumbs for you. Let me ride them coattails. Yeah, that's what it was. The coattails. Well, I'll think about it. We'll see. I don't know about your shenanigans after tonight. Riding the coattails. Even though you've let me ride your coattails for a while now, I'm a pretty nice guy, though. I might let that happen, but let's get there first, and then I'll think about it. I'm getting close, so just don't you forget that. These knives is coming fast. About 5K a month fast. Real fast. And we're not slowing down. You just go. I love you too, bud. I love you too. But that doesn't stop me from coming. I'm coming fast. Watch and see. Watch and see. 2 big button locks. Yeah, I'm only 40K off, but we're not putting into consideration we're hitting about 5K a month. Now, if I can get that up to 10K a month, it's only, what is that, a couple months? Couple of months? Ooh, he's getting scared now, ain't he? He's getting scared now. He didn't realize how many subs we were getting a month. Oh, I'm coming. I think MC is at like, what, 67? I'm going to check. I'm going to check because we're coming. What is Metal Complex at? 65.2. 65. Oh, 65.1. 65. It's going down. 64.3. Damn. Everybody's unsubbing from Metal Complex all of a sudden. We got a little ways to go, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Where did my thing go? It's almost 66. I'm curious how many he's gaining a month. That's what I'm curious on. How many he's gaining a month. I just hope he doesn't tell me 5K. Because then I'm fucked. You trying to PewDiePie T series. This I see you. Yeah, you got it. You got it. 2.5 or so. Oh, I'm on my way. 2.5 or so. I know it's a wave, but I'm on my wave right now. So all that means is that you're in fucking danger, Big Daddy. Danger. MC's in the danger zone. Remember, guys. Remember, like I said, he started a lot earlier. So he's got a head start. He's got a head start, but he's fucking wounded right now. He's wounded. He's tripping over himself, and Neevesknives is coming up fast. Get to the legendary TNP numbers. TNP. Who's TNP? I can't think of who TNP is. DBK, yeah, DBK is awesome. I love their channel. Did you see that tag, MC? Did you see that tag? I tagged you on Instagram. Huh? Did you see that? I tagged you on something. Oh, Nuttin' Fancy. Yeah, Nuttin' Fancy. Yeah, I tagged you on something on Instagram, Big Daddy. Something to do with the Rockstead. Yeah, Nuttin' Fancy's got some numbers for sure. He's not really, I mean, he does knife content still, but not like he used to. He used to do some great knife content, but he's kind of mostly in the firearm category. But I have to imagine that does hurt him because a lot of the people in like the firearm community, we all know, YouTube's going to suppress him a little bit, but he does a lot of different things. So I'm not going to say he's just there. Like, he does everything. So, which we're starting to explore other little things too, which I think is good for the channel. Kind of spice it up a bit. I can't remember his name. Same with Little Fit Devil. Niche, we are nothing compared to that dude who gained 70K in a month recently. Holy shit. Speak for yourself. I was joking. Yeah, no, that's numbers. But I think with the knife community, we are such a tight community that small numbers are bigger than other channels' big numbers. Like you'll look at other things, right? Other niches, right? Their community is big, but not as tight. So we like just like we have actual supporters. And I think that's very, very important. And we have such an amazing community that small numbers are better than big numbers. Right. Um, and like it's crazy the the amount of love you get from this community, and it's so awesome. And I've seen this across the board. I've seen channels that have 100,000 followers that don't do as well as a channel with, like, say, 20,000 followers in a knife community, because it's not the same. They don't get the same level of support or the same love. Um, they a lot of times not even the same views, but then some of them do. Some of them do get a lot of views, but they don't get the type of support, like with other things. Like, even if we're really talking about, if we get down to the nitty gritty, the links, right? Being able to link stuff and actually have people to support your channel and use your links to liking your stuff and commenting, and Patreon and things like that. Like it really brings it all together where these channels are possible, but it's only possible with a great community. Because like I've seen like comedy shows where people like just basically do like reaction channels. They get a lot of views, right? A lot of views, but that's it. They base everything off of views, and that's it. Which it views are great. Views are amazing, but that's one part of a knife content creator's channel, right? So in that case, you can be a little bit, it can increase your I guess your earnings, or your even friends and things like that. Like, because hell, I mean, MC knows the revenue off of like AdSense is just one part of it. Having a connection with the community, being able to buy, trade, sell, and things like that is just a whole nother part. So there's a lot of other great things that come with it. Because, like, say, let's talk about like a reaction channel, right? Who are they talking to? Like, who are they? I'm not saying I'm not saying they don't have friends. I mean, in the community, right? Like, like you can't. What are you gonna do? Exchange videos and like of what you're gonna react off of, which they do, I'm sure. But in this case, we can trade knives, we can sell knives, buy them, get little hints on deals and things like that. Like, there's so many things that are awesome about this channel. Real people make this work. That's the real meat and potatoes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Where do I get those Hinder boxers, MC? MC, you got some Hinder boxers? MC's got them Hindi boxes. Thank you for the donation, Average Joe. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much. Money is a tiny, tiny part of it. Exactly. Money is definitely a tiny, tiny part. And then even if you like the friends, it's kind of like everybody always talks about going to Blade Show, right? They talk about like, yeah, the knives are amazing, right? The knives are amazing, but the best part, and I've heard this across the board, so it's not like I'm just pulling this out of my ass because I've never been to Blade Show, but I've heard everybody say that the best part about going to Blade Show is the experience with the people. They get to meet their friends, they get to hang out with knife makers, knife designers, and they have a good time. And I mean, that's an experience. So with an experience, that's priceless, right? An experience with people that you love and cherish and care for, or knife makers that you drool over their designs, and you get to have a conversation with them. That's amazing, man. That's such an amazing thing. So I definitely can't wait to go to a Blade show. And I know my thing just went blurry. But sorry, guys. I hate when this thing does this. This is twice now today. Bang. Why won't it? Man, it's like really bad right now. Holy shit. Metal Complex is messing the channel up now. Willow, thank you for the donation, bud. Your info 100% is working on Civivi. What do you mean? Well, I keep right now. I'm telling them to fix their damn lock bar access, but Civivi is awesome though. I think Civivi does an incredible job. I think people that are in the market for a user, Civivi's about goes. Oh, there it goes, nice and clear. Jared, I'm watching Squid Games. Gotta run. Peace out, brother. Just remember what I said though. I'm coming for your ass. Yeah, yeah. How come when he walks out of here, all of a sudden the camera gets better, right? Son of a bitch. I'd love to meet up with a bunch of my Blade folks sometime. I think it would be a great learning experience. Absolutely. I definitely want to meet up with a lot of everybody, really everybody. I think that would be. I've never done it, so I've only ever heard stories from the people that have, and it just sounds like such a good time. You know, one of these days, though, hopefully next year. We all know what happened last year, so hopefully this year or next year. Seriously, you are awesome. Got into knives less than a year ago, and the community is truly special. It really is. It is a special community. And I remember when I first started this community, I heard people saying that. I literally heard people saying that, and I didn't grasp it. I didn't. I heard people saying it, and I thought they were saying it just because they were part of it. Like I thought it was like a thing to say. I really did. I thought it was just like this. That's the nice thing to say, right? Oh, this is the best community ever, right? You're saying it because you're a part of it, right? But then looking around really, truly at other communities across the world, across the globe, none of them are as tight knit as this, do as much. People will literally send you thousands of dollars in knives for you to check out. People will give the shirt off their back to people. I've seen people have injured family members and got a year for them paid for, or their dogs had sicknesses and needed to be put down and everybody banded together, like all those things. And I know I've been a part of all of them, right? Because and it makes it to where it's more than just about knives, right? Which is an amazing thing. Hey mom, I see you. Brandon, been blessed. Thank you, buddy. Let it go, Breeze. Let it go. I didn't see what he said, but I see someone commenting. It's absolutely a great community. Other than the slicey dicey monster racing people taking advantage of awesome people, things happen. Part of the community, you're gonna have hiccups. There's always gonna be hiccups, and I'm sure one day I'll make a hiccup. Not like trying to, but you never know. I mean, I know there's been times where like right now, right? I was supposed to mail some shit out and I'm late. I'm late. And it makes me feel bad like that I'm late on mailing somebody's stuff out that should have been mailed out last week. And now I'm not going to be able to mail it out till Monday. And it kind of makes me look shitty, right? There are going to be times where things happen, but for the most part, the good outweighs the bad. And the couple times when there's going to be bad things, it's a ripple in the ocean, right? Like it ain't gonna matter. But for the overwhelming part, nothing but great things to say about the community. Right, right. I think it's hard to even talk about it, the bad things, because the good things outweigh the bad so much that it's not even worth talking about, to be honest. And honestly, anybody who's had bad experiences or been the person that causes a bad experience, I hope the best for them. I really do, and I think that's what this community is about. And I really truly hope the best for them and hope they figure their shit out. That's all you can do. That's what we're supposed to be about, right? We're supposed to have each other's backs even during the bad. That's when you know that people actually have your back. It's not when you're doing good. It's not when everything's going right. It's when you're doing bad. That's when you know. When you're in your worst possible point and you have somebody that has your back, that's the motherfucker that'll be there for you. That's a real friend. depends on when it is. Yeah, karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. But goes both ways though. Do good, good karma will come back to you. So stay doing good, and good things will happen. Right? And obviously, you'll come across bad things and bad times, but just make the best of it and continue moving. Good things will keep happening. All right, good will always outweigh the bad if you're being good. Right? If you're being a good person, then it will always outweigh the bad, even though bad things will happen. Only a little while left on the field. Yes. Nice, Sergeant. I'm glad you said that. If you guys are wanting to get on the pre-order, you don't have to make the whole purchase all at once. You can put $100 down and have a pre-order set up for the new field duty, the 3.5-inch field duty. There's like 5 or 6 different handle materials, 2 different finishes. I think I'm not 100%. Maybe 3 different finishes. I'm not sure. But I got the stone washed one with the green micarta, green canvas micarta. It's the cheapest one. $100 down. I won't have to pay the rest until they're done. But it's a good way to where you can split up the costs. And technically, you don't have to pay the $100 all at once. You can do $25 payments. So, just saying. It's kind of a win-win on that in that case. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate your authenticity and being yourself. It's hard to find people like you nowadays because most care too much about what others think. Keep it real. We all appreciate you and care. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And I know you're right. Most people do. But I think most people can see through it too. We're all flawed. We've all fucking had our times, and even, if you've done mostly everything right, you still have flaws. Everybody has flaws, but we're all human. And, just acknowledging that everybody is their worst critic, right? Everybody's their own worst critic. So whatever you can say about me, I've said to myself way worse. So it don't matter. You know what I mean? So, and most of the time, things that anybody could say about me, even at my shittiest times, I would agree. So, you can't say too much about somebody when they're willing to say the same thing about themselves. And, as long as you're not in denial, about it. But yeah, it's a thing, especially on social media. People are going to be fake. People are going to worry about what other people think and say about them. And it does suck because nobody wants to be ostracized or, condemned, by the masses. So everybody always worries about not being exposed, but being exposed for a lie, I think, or being exposed for something fake or not true or something bad happening, right? And then all of a sudden now, because you're dealing with people that are basing their reality of you on their thoughts, not on reality. So that can make it to where you're worried about what is their reality about you. But as long as you're open, I think, about it, and you don't put too much attention on that, on the thoughts of people and what they think about you, and the bad things come, laugh it off and have a good time with it, and that's it. Don't because what happens is people will put too much attention on that moment. That moment will go away so fast, like that, like a drop in the ocean. But you will pay attention to it longer than everybody else, and that can wreck you. What's up, Matt? Matisfaction. I feel like we're all in this together. When I am watching you, keep on keeping on. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I agree. I do too. I feel like that too. I that's why I love being here, because I feel like I have a lot of it's for me. You know what I mean? And I think it's a great time sitting and hanging out with everybody and just having a great conversation. You know, I try to make it entertaining, especially in the beginning with information, so people joining can follow along and have something to pay attention to, like if they're at work or something like that, because nothing's worse. I don't like going to lives. Sorry, I must have poked myself or something, scratched a scab. But I don't like going on lives, getting dead space. I hate that. Sometimes I cringe when I go onto somebody's live. And this is, I'm not talking shit about anybody doing a live. This is purely my mind thinking. It's not the truth. This is just my mind thinking. But I think about like the other people watching, and I think about them, like say if the person is messing with something, right? And I'm not talking about the knife community, I'm talking about lives period, right? Like the other day I was on a TikTok thing and I wound up on somebody's live, and they're sitting there messing with something over here, and people are just sitting there watching, and I'm thinking like, what is this person doing? Like I couldn't imagine, like, why is anybody in here? Like, what are they getting out of this? um they must really like that person, because they're just sitting there, and I'm thinking like, this person should be talking or doing something, showing them something, do something. And then another time there was this musician I went on, and this musician was like kind of doing the same thing. It's like he's over here on the computer and people are sitting there live watching him. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it makes me cringe thinking like that you're not entertaining your people, you're not talking to them, or having a conversation with everybody. And so I try to keep mine moving to where there's not dead space, to where people don't get bored and they always have something to think about while they're listening or watching. That way it's entertaining. And then when we get to a point where we're all just sitting around having a conversation, it's great. But at that point it's a couple hours in. um so, and even in the beginning we still have a great conversation. I'm not saying we don't. I'm saying once I run out of topics, just shooting the shit now. We like I said, after 9 o'clock, what is it? 9:30 we do story time and we just kind of shoot the shit. But from 7:30 to 9:30 we do a bunch of knife talk, and now we're just kind of shooting the shit. Jared, I mean this with sincerity. Motherfucker. Brandon. Jared, I mean this with all sincerity. You have helped me get into a great community more than any other channel. You work so hard, produce such great content, and respond to everyone. I appreciate that, man. And you know what? I actually feel bad because at this point now I have not responded to everybody. YouTube Studio fucked me over. I don't know why they do this sometimes. We're like every 6 months. And also when I hit 20K, my YouTube Studio changed, and all of a sudden now they dropped in all the comments that they held for review, and they're just mixing them up in there. Like, and so I couldn't tell you how many comments. Like, I could answer comments for the next 3 months probably. And so those are comments I never responded to, but YouTube, I don't know, dropped them in my shit all of a sudden. And I could never see them before. So I answered all the comments I ever seen, except for the held for review ones. I don't pay attention to those. I answer everybody's comments except for those. Those ones are going to get forgot about because there's no way I can get through all those. There's no possible way. And I've always told you guys that when I get to the point to where I can't read every comment, I will let you guys know. And it'll probably be soon, and I'll probably get to a point to where I can't keep up. There's no way possible for me to read every single comment and do everything. But what I will do is I'll always promise that if I read your comment, it will have a heart on it. If I didn't read your comment, there won't be a heart. So if I haven't liked the comment, I don't care if you told me to go F myself and I sound like shit. If I read it, I'm going to like it. I promise you, I will never read the comment and not like it. And if I didn't like it, then that means I didn't see it. So, and I mean, if I seen it, that's what I mean to say. If I seen it, then that means I read it. That means I liked it. Joseph, I learned how to sharpen knives because of you. Thank you, brother. Man, I appreciate that. And that's awesome, because when I started, teaching sharpening, I was always worried that because those videos would be like the least popular at the time, but it was the thing I wanted to do the most. So I made them. And I always wondered, like, man, I hope somebody gets something out of this because I'm putting a lot of time into these. So I'm glad because that really makes me feel good that people got a lot out of the sharpening content. And I have a lot more sharpening content coming up. I actually have a new sharpening system. I have new attachments for the work sharp. And I'm going to do another freehand video coming up soon. So that's all coming up very, very soon. Hey, Jared, you sound like shit. Go fuck yourself. Thank you. I appreciate that. The stonewashed blade is why? Yeah. Slicey dicey drama aside, he always seemed like he was in it for free. Early access and donations. You genuinely love knives. Cheap or expensive, doesn't matter. Absolutely. I do really like all the knives. And I also understand that, with cheap knives, right? Cheap budget knives. Not everybody can afford an expensive knife, and you got to still be able to see the beauty of a specific knife for a certain price. So, like say $100 knife or $50 knife or $20 knife, right? Can you see the good in it? Like, is it good quality for that money? Like, you do have to put in there, like, don't expect a $20 knife to be as good as a $100 knife, but is it good for 20 bucks? Is that a damn good deal for 20 bucks? And I love more than anything finding a good deal. I've always been a person that loves finding a good deal. Hell, I'll walk in a thrift store and find a good deal. You know what I mean? So, you gotta love that when you find a knife and you're like, damn it, this is only 50 bucks or 40 bucks or whatever. And it's like, holy cow, this is like so good for that money. So, freehand sharpening for the win. I have 80 plus knives sharpened that you would be proud of. That's awesome. Believe. Awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's when you learn how to sharpen, man, or not even learn how to sharpen. I mean, even if you send them to me to sharpen or send them to whoever and get them sharpened, it's nice having sharp edges. Like, don't let your knives get dull. Don't do that. One, they're harder to sharpen at that point. Habit. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I see the sticker. Thank you, man. Yeah, but when you let your knives go dull, that's not good. It's not good. Keep your knives sharp, even if you got to send them out or if you got to buy a sharpener or whatever. Keep your knives sharp, man. It's how does oh man, he always says it. I can't think of how he says it. He says a lazy man carries a dull knife or something like that. That's a good saying. That's a good saying. I see it, guys. Dwayne, I learned how to sharpen better, and now I appreciate different steels more. Thanks, Jared. Absolutely, and that's where I went with it. Like when I learned how to sharpen, it made me appreciate steels more and heat treats and all of that stuff. And it's another avenue because like the knives are great, obviously, even just as a collector aspect, if you're not a user, you don't have to be a user. Just collecting knives is an awesome hobby. You can buy, trade, sell, do all kinds of stuff. But stones is a whole nother, it's a whole new, another thing. It's like another world, which makes knives even better because it's like now there's natural stones, there's ceramic stones, there's diamond stones, there's all Japanese stones, splash and go stones. There's so many different kinds of stones. It really makes it even better, makes it funner. My mom out of here. Love you, Mom. Talk to you later. Oh, good night, Jared. Have a good night, everyone. Happy Halloween. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. But yeah, it does. It does make you. And this is another thing is that like I think sometimes like people they like certain steels because of the price or because they heard what other people like. And when you really get into sharpening, it really makes you appreciate certain steels and certain steels. It actually makes you dislike some steels, which That's one thing that's happened to me. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, you know, but it made me realize why I like certain steels and why I don't. And I'm not saying you can't get that off if you don't sharpen. If you send your knives out to sharpen, that can do the same thing, because you'll find out after you start using those, you know, those steels or whatever, like, man, I have the worst luck with this steel. You know, even if you don't sharpen, if you just use your knife, you'll find that out. Jared, how did you learn how to sharpen knives self-taught? I actually watched YouTube channels. My dad taught me kind of how to sharpen when I was a kid. He'd have me spit on the stone and, you know, scratch it back and forth, but I never got a good edge. So I understood the basics, but never got a sharp edge. And then I started watching YouTube channels, and like Mike Emler and Jeff Jewell and Rooster and Michael Christie, and they helped me learn how to sharpen. And then I started putting my own spin on it, because after I understood the science behind it, then I would play them in the background, but I wouldn't necessarily be doing what they're doing. I would do it myself, and I spent countless hours learning how to perfect it. I always wanted to do better than the last time. And I remember going downhill, like starting to do good and being able to do really good. And then all of a sudden I couldn't do good anymore. And that was just because there's different learning curves, you know, and sometimes you get bad heat treats, sometimes this, sometimes that. But then after a while, you start learning little tips and tricks on you know, like when you run into walls, what to do and what to do if you run into this issue and blah blah blah. So but after a long time though, man, it just you know, I got so good at it that I started just doing my own thing and like practicing different things and trying different things, and I got confident. Do you use diamond stones on your S90V? Absolutely. Every time. I never do anything else but diamonds on S90V. Oh, the Shane Gables. That's the that diamond stone is a damn it. I can't even think of the name of it now. Atoma. The Atoma. I want to get one of their medium grit stones, like 400 or 600, because and that 140 is great. Don't get me wrong, that 140 is great, but holy shit, is it aggressive. I mean, it's fucking aggressive. That thing will hog steel. You can set a bevel very fast with that thing. So yeah, you can definitely if you get one, I would say if you have other diamond stones, like other, you can get, I can link those things for like $60. I can't believe I paid $100 for that thing. But yeah, I would get two of them if I was you. I'd get a medium grit and a low grit, or unless if you already have diamond plates that are already medium grit, then you're fine. You don't need one. What would you say was the challenging knife you sharpened? A knife I've never gotten sharpened, because when you get bad heat treats, and I don't mean like, you know, bad heat treats. I mean a bad heat treat. You can't get it sharp. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. It will never be sharp again. The only reason it got as sharp as it can get from the factory, and that's it. Tucson has no soul, you son of a bitch. He made me say it too. Tucson has tons of soul. React's life sucks. Hey Shane. Thanks, Lefty. Um, Thank you for the donation, brother. Jared recommended some diamond stones for DJ Breeze. For some reason, I've done much better on Instagram versus here. Must be the flowers. I'm starting to do those YouTube shorts, man. They're doing pretty good too. I get a lot of views on them. I'm going to use them for teaching purposes to get, like I was saying earlier, I know there's 98 people in here. Some of you guys weren't in here earlier when I was talking about it, but I'm going to use it to get people over here to the YouTube channel and watch the actual videos. So I figure if I can teach things on there and show things up close and stuff like that, it'll make people interested so that they join the channel. But yeah, the worst steel I ever sharpened was a crap S35. That was the worst. Besides like gas station steels. Like gas station steels, obviously they're shit. Like you get some stainless that has a bad heat treat. It's stainless already. It's not even a good steel for knives. So then it has a bad heat treat. So bad. So bad. It's like mushy. When you get it on the stone, you like a good heat treat, you can feel the steel being removed. Like literally, like you can hold your angle and you can feel the edge getting flatter, if that makes sense, because you can feel the steel just being peeled off. Kind of like this. I always say it like this. Imagine taking a ball of Play-Doh and a stick. Okay, you have a stick and a ball of Play-Doh. Which one could you put an edge on? Think about that. Think about taking a ball of Play-Doh and sharpening it into a point. You probably wouldn't have very good. It probably would suck. You wouldn't be able to do it, but you could take a stick and do it. Right? It's like that. So getting a bad heat treat, it's like trying to sharpen Play-Doh. Pakistani steel forged from the tears infidels is the best. So true. So true. I stay away from those. I stay away from those for sure. Lefty's already out here. He's not even in here no more. He just comes in here, drops some dollars, says a comment, and he fucking jets. He don't stick around. He never sticks around. Let's see. Watch. I bet he doesn't make another comment. Watch. What kind of stones do you sharpen? Classic knives. You son of a bitch. He is still in here. I sharpen Play-Doh all the time on my helmet. Oh fuck! Which field EDC? Hey, which one did you order, Lefty? I got the green micarta. It's stone washed. Sucker. Sucker. That's the way I pictured him saying it. Sucker. But yeah, I was gonna choose the brown micarta, the canvas micarta. I think it was canvas, wasn't it? Or was it burlap? I think it was canvas. But I like green micarta. I like the brown micarta too, but the problem is they're not showing you the actual materials. It's a computer version. I really wish you would have did a prototype of just one, right? If you did a prototype of just one knife, no, I guess he couldn't have because he would have had different finishes. So if you would have done one satin, one stone washed, and if you had any other finishes, do one of those and then just get the materials, the handle materials, and interchange them for the pictures. Show us because I wanted to see what the material looked like. Watch, I'm gonna get like fucking Civivi's micarta or something, and I'm gonna be pissed. I'm just joking. I know Riette's quality. Their micarta is really good. What kind of stones do you sharpen classic knives on, like case? I use so for like carbon steels, I'll use natural stones or aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is the best. Aluminum oxide, Arkansas's, things like that. I really like it on India stones. Those are really good. I got some splash and goes made out of aluminum oxide. It's React. It'll look great. Yeah, I agree. React micarta is really good. I'm just talking shit. I just wish I would have been able to see it because there is different, kinds. Like how we were saying last night on the live, with the what was that storm stuff or whatever. Like it'd been nice to actually see a real true picture of the exact stuff because I can have brown linen micarta and have 3 different kinds and they all look different. So the problem with Lefty is Lefty EDC, he wants new designs. Like he keeps bitching about these knife companies doing the same old designs. But then you got knives like, or companies like Tucson doing new crazy designs all the time with really good quality for a great bang for your buck price. Great bang for your buck price. Probably about the best bang for your buck you can get. If we're all honest with ourselves, right? Where can you spend $100 and get better quality than Tucson? Nowhere, right? Nowhere. Just about nowhere. With amazing, badass designs. Now, I'm not saying there's not some shit designs. Of course there is. Of course there is. But they do some unique designs because, unlike knife companies that are doing the same old, same design 10 times over. Oh, it's a drop point with, neutral ergos, the same fuller, the same hole, the same this. You can get some amazing, really cool designs that look completely different from one another and are just 100% different milling patterns, different this, different that, because they use new designers. They don't use the same designer over and over and over that does the exact same design 10 times over. They'll use this designer, that designer, and since they're some of them are actual like old school designers, but they do use some upcoming designers where they have an imagination, right? They really throw in their imagination, and you can get some amazing designs. Now, I'm not saying I don't like 90% of their designs either, but the 10% I do like are amazing because they use cheap designers who don't expect a good cut. Arguably, sometimes. I mean, I think it depends, but yeah, some of them are young, but some of them are good designers. There's been a lot of designers that they've used, but yeah, I think they're obviously a little cheaper because the knives are going to sell a little cheaper, so they're obviously not getting a big, as big of a cut. Sometimes they do though, because like Tepe's only uses super steels. He only uses M390, S110V, and things like that, and his designs always knock it out of the park. But it's you're going to get some of those that where they're trying to make it very cheap. Not cheap. I don't want to say cheap, but affordable. So yeah, they don't get as big of a cut. But you know how it goes. Like with knife companies, like they have a price tag. This is how much it takes for them to make a knife. I've actually made videos on that though. So, but yes, he's a show. He's a show. Jelly Jerry is cheap. See, now with Jelly Jerry, I like a couple of his designs, but then there's some I don't like. Like even with Kubi, I like a couple, like one of his designs from Kubi, then other ones I don't. With Tucson, I like one of his designs, and then the other ones I'm not a big fan. Like I even said, like this one right here, I don't like this one, and I think he's the designer. Yeah, this is a Jelly Jerry. I don't like this one. Looking at it, I like the look of it. I just don't like the knife. There's just it's too squared off. There's just little things I don't like about it. But I love the one I got coming from them because I've had it before. But when they're making that many designs from different designers, you're gonna have some that are just not your style. You don't like I don't this is the thing. If a knife company's designs are all my style, then they're not doing their job. You know what I mean? Because I don't like every style of knife, but I do expect knife companies to do different styles to fit different people and different jobs, different this, different that. Like I don't like Persians, right? I don't like Persians, but knife companies should do Persians, right? Because they're good for certain things. They're great for skinning, and certain people love Persians. But that doesn't mean I'll like them. So I don't expect to like every design. But the ones I do like are amazing. And then the ones I don't even like too. There's some that I don't like the design, but I can't deny the build quality. Just because it's not for me doesn't mean I don't say, wow, that's comfortable in the hand. Wow, that action is fucking fantastic. Wow, that's thin behind the edge and very slicey. Holy shit, damn, the build quality is amazing. Wow, this thing is light. Man, these are some great bearings, man. Holy cow, I can see all that, even though I'm like, I don't like the design, but damn it, this is a good knife. I can admit that. Lefty, by the way, one, he's left-handed, so he's got, lefty issues. But besides, just fucking around. but no, I can definitely appreciate a good build when I see it. I bet Jelly Jerry is hard to say for Chinese people. And yet, I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try, but yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I wonder how. I'm sure Jared's hard to say for them. I would do it because I've heard a lot of Chinese people say my name, but I'm not gonna. I need a front flipper. Ever since Jared show one, I've been lusting to get one, but don't know which one to get. I would get a McKenna, Savivi McKenna. Not this, but kind of like this. It's got a sheep's foot blade, but it's very similar to this. That's a very easy knife to front flip. If you've never had a front flipper, that's a very easy one. And I don't know what your price range is, but that's only like $65. And they come in like G10, copper, brass, this, that. You can get it in just about any type of material. But it's very snappy, very easy to deploy. So that's where I would go if I was you. Tepe. This is a good one. I'm not a big fan of this blade shape. I don't like this blade shape, but it's a good knife. Great cutter, great everything. S110V, amazing ergos. You can see this thing has amazing ergos. I mean, this thing is super comfortable, super snappy, great knife, but I just don't like, I'm not a big fan of this blade shape. And it's not that I don't like clip points. I just don't like the ones that poke up a little bit. I like the ones that go straight down if they're going to do it. Kind of like a reverse Tonto, but they can be a little longer. 6 months. That's funny. Dwayne, you should start a channel. Both hands EDC. That's hilarious. Love my McKenna. It was my main carry until my lady got me a brass Damascus Dogma for my birthday. I always wanted to try one of the copper McKennas because McKennas are light. Like, they're almost too light. Like, I don't mind a little bit of weight in a knife. I also like a light knife too, but that knife is so light that I can imagine having it with copper or brass scales would actually be pretty cool. Some knives are pretty cool. Like my Kaiser Deviant, I like the copper on that because it's only the bolsters, so that thing is awesome. I'm not sure. I'd love the look of it. Well, I like it because it's the perfect size, in my opinion. The new Liang Mod's 3.5 inches. The other one's 4 inches, and then the little one's 3 inches. So this is a 3.5. This would be perfect for me. It almost makes me happy that I didn't get the other two because I would not be getting this one if I had I don't think. Maybe I would. I don't know. I guess I can't say that. Keep that or my large and Cosi. And I have the 3.5 M390 Hinder non-flipper. Oh man, if you got the non-flipper, keep that. Those non-flipper 3.5-inch non-flipper, I'd keep that. Or personally, me over the Nkosi, but then I'd send it in and get a regrind, get a hollow grind on it. That'd be awesome. All right, guys, my shit's about to die. We're getting out of here. I love you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you to all the moderators. Oh, I didn't show what the Patreons are possibly going to win. Should I show some of it? Maybe I should give it like a little sneak peek. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Jared, you think there's only a out 5 companies in China pumping put all these knives? What? Pumping out all these knives? No, I think there's probably 100 companies. There's a city in China, and 80% of all the knives in the world come out of that city. So it literally, I've heard stories about it. That like kids are born there and already know, like when they're like 10, like that they're going to get into knife making. Like that's what's close to them. That's a good job for them. It's a good company to get with and things like that. So they already know from a young age that this is what they're doing. So like there's people that grow up knowing they're going to be doing knives because of that city, you know. Everybody wants you to go live, Lefty. Jared, awesome time tonight. Yeah, you guys stay safe. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Nah, your shit's gonna die. Well, this isn't. My other one is. I could stay live for a little bit longer. How many people are in here? Oh, we still have 118 people. Oh, 87. Why does it tell me 118 watching? We have 88 people in here. Fuck it. We'll stay live for like 15 more minutes or something. I got a little bit longer on this one. My other one died. Been looking for a non-flipper 3-inch. I like the man, come on, focus. The Hinders non-flippers are like the best ones in my opinion. The detents are really good. Now, I like my 3.5 flipper version. I do. Mine is tuned really good. I don't like but you can knock down the flipper. You don't have to keep the flipper pokey. It's very easy to knock down a flipper. You can take a ceramic stone and just hit it and, you know, soften it up a little bit because it is a little pokey. But the grinds can keep it from being, unless if you like robust grinds, but if you want something slicey, Hinder is not slicey. They are robust. They're for hard use. But I figure, because I kind of want to do a regrind on my Hinder, because I figure I have my Demco 8020, and my Demco 8020, that's my hard use knife. So do I need that thick of a grind on my Hinder? Probably not. So I probably should do a regrind. Now everybody's leaving since I said goodnight. I shouldn't have let the cat out the bag. But yeah, man. I think for this giveaway, I'm gonna do. The thing is that I already know like a couple of the giveaways I'm gonna do. That's what people are gonna pick. They're not gonna pick anything else that I throw in there. So I'm it's gonna be one of the 2 or 3 things. So I'll probably do just one giveaway because I know the knives are really expensive. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do 2. I don't know. We'll see. I've been planning on doing 2 giveaways to the Patreons. The only thing though, it's like, man, that's more money than I make. Way more money. So, which I don't have a problem with. It's just that's what I usually do anyway. So if I do 2 of them, then that means fucking it'll wind up being 2 months worth of Patreon for one giveaway. Jared would love more content on fixed blades. I got some fixed blade videos coming up, Big Daddy, coming up. I actually have one done right now on this one. So I just have to do the filming of the actual review. I've already got all the videos of using it and everything. You can actually see this coating isn't the best, but you can actually see it coming off and shit. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. This price of a knife, you're not really worried about the finish. You're using it to, you know, you're getting it to use. Bang. Facts. Jared would love more content on Facebook. Live my ass off. Liner lock versus frame lock doesn't matter. Newbie asking. So a frame lock, the one problem that people have with frame locks is keeping their finger off of the lock bar. So not all frame locks. Some frame locks you can put pressure on the lock bar because this is the lock bar. So if I put pressure on the lock bar, it can lock me out from flipping it. Meaning like I'm touching the detent, so I'm locking the blade inside there. So when I go like this, it'll just go skip and it'll hurt you. But all you gotta do is get used to going like this. If you can get used to, so now like when I grab a knife, I never touch a lock bar. It's just a habit of me going like this. I always keep my fingers off the lock bar. Some people have a problem getting the habit and they always grab a frame lock and squeeze and then try to flip it and it'll hurt their fingers. So in those cases, then yeah, a liner lock can be better for you because you're not locking yourself out of the knife or from deploying the knife. Then for lefties, like lefty EDC, the problem is they can't not hold the lock bar because that's where their thumb goes. So they'll lock themselves out from being able to reverse flick. If you want to reverse flick, most newbies go with thumb studs or flipper tabs. But if you're gonna get a hole, you know, Spydercos are really good for newbies because it's so easy to reverse flick. It's very, very easy. So it just but between a liner lock and a frame lock though, that's the biggest difference. Frame locks can be stronger, but there are some strong liner locks, but it's basically just some people have problem lock. It's called I can't think of the name of it now. I can't think of the name of it. But basically where you just lock it closed and you can't deploy it because you're putting pressure on the lock bar. Lock death or something like that. Death lock. That's what it's called. Death lock. Walt says, I vastly prefer liner locks, and it pisses me off that they're so hard to find in higher end production knives. Thank you, Seth. Yes, death lock. Yes. And Josh, thank you. When I first got my Hinder for Christmas, I thought it was broken. And I got really mad, but it turned out it was just holding the lock bar. Smooth. Yeah. Everybody did that with the Kershaw bare knuckle. Like everybody had issues because they had a strong lock bar, or sorry, a strong detent. And since it had a strong detent, if you just breathed on that lock bar, if you barely touched the lock bar, it was locking you out. They did make it better in the future, but the first batch, everybody was having problems with it. But that's the knife I literally learned not to do that on, was the Kershaw bare knuckle, because I learned once I touched it, I'd go skip and it would hurt. And I'd be like, fuck. You know, but once you get the habit, man, you just get the habit of grabbing the knife and don't touch that lock bar. Or at least with your middle finger. Don't do this. Go like this. Instead of this, do this. And it works great. But liner locks, you don't have to worry about that because you can't touch the lock bar. So, David, you are late because we're almost done. Almost sent my Asher Nomad back because of Deathlock found it was just an idiot. Yep. Yep, because it doesn't matter. Any frame lock can do that. It's just some have softer detents, so some of them aren't so bad. My number one priority when buying a knife is heat treat, so I usually just buy a Spyderco. Yeah, I like Spydercos. I don't mind them. I know, like Lefty, he hates their detents. I've personally never really had a bad detent on a Spyderco. But I don't know. That's just me. I do throw them though. Like this one, I wouldn't like. The best detent I've ever felt on a Spyderco was on a Yojimbo. It was on a carbon fiber Yojimbo. That thing was so crispy. It was perfect. This one's good though. This one's just, regular, but you got to remember they are on phosphor bronze. They're not bearings. So, they're not going to have as clean of a break as a bearing knife, but the way the hole is positioned, you have so much leverage that they're very easy to Spidey flick. Like, to me, they're some of the best Spidey flicking knives because of the hole, the positioning of the hole. But there's other great knives. Like, even this is really good. Cue ball. I'm a 10-year vet. Roommate is 20-year retired, 3 tours. His son, who has also toured, we know all about toys other than knives. Sweet. October or sheepdog flipperless? Sheepdog flipperless, for sure. The October's great, but it ain't got nothing on that damn sheepdog. That sheepdog is the shit. What 3 sharpening systems on a budget can cover everything? Serrations, field sharpening, very dull knives, and can last for a decent while. KME. Oh, wait, on a budget? Because KME's gonna be expensive. I mean, you can get a Lansky. If you get a Lansky, they have attachments that you can get. That's about what I'd go for a budget. On a budget, you can get the diamond plates and you can get different rods and stuff for it. So why aren't shamans more available? Because everybody buys them. I guess they sell it pretty quick. Deathlock is bad on the Real Steel Luna. And not a lot to hold on to. That's when it does suck, is when you have a thin knife. When it's nice and slim, when it's really slim, you have to be careful because you don't have nothing else to hang on to. So you gotta be careful not to squeeze the lock bar. So yeah, thin knives can be a bitch, especially for a frame lock. That's what mine was a murdered out one. I have red micarta scales on it though now. But my shaman was the murdered out one. That's kind of the beauty with Spyderco though, man. You can replace just about anything except for like the blade, but the scales, the hardware, you can find new clips, you can find every part. You can totally make it your own. What's shields? Oh, shills. Shills is somebody who don't you fucking say Jared. But shills is like somebody who's selling the product to you, right? So like say a knife company gives me this, right, to review. I give it a good review so that the company keeps working with me, so that the company keeps sending me stuff. So I don't tell you the truth, basically. It's somebody who's willing to lie to you for products, basically, or gets paid to tell you something. So like if Savivi sent me some knives and said, listen, we'll send you $500 a month to give us good reviews. That's a shill. Or they'll say, we'll give you all our products. We'll always keep giving you products for your channel if you just tell us good things. So like if you say something bad, then we won't send you more products. With me though, in all honesty, like I joke around about being a shill, but I constantly talk shit about the knives. I've gotten into so much shit for talking shit about the knives. I've gotten into fights, arguments, even face-to-face arguments, like on Zoom calls and shit. And I've always told the companies that I'm going to give an honest review, and it is what it is. And if I give it a bad review, the best thing they can do is try to fix it, right? Because if they like, and I say this too to everybody, like if you see a company send me a product and I do a bad review on it and they don't send me another one, that's not a good sign, because that's a company that is only willing to send knives to people that give them good reviews. That's why, like right now, like with Megaron knives, I gave them a bad review on a knife. The knife wasn't like a bad knife, and I could see the quality there, so I could see I could see it was a good knife. Just there was things wrong with it that really bothered me. So, but they're sending me stuff still. They've talked to me. They've asked me what they could do better. I've talked to them a few times now. I almost turned my back on them because I wound up finding out that they didn't replace or refund knives from people that had problems, and I got upset. But then they did. They didn't find out I was getting upset or something, but they just wound up doing it. So then I was like, oh, cool. I'm glad that they took care of it. But you want a company that stands by their product, and if they do fuck up, they fix it. Now, if they get a bad review, they should do everything possible to make that knife better, especially if it's an honest thing. Like, I can't shit on it if I just don't like the design, right? If everything's good and I give it a bad review because I don't like the design, that's a bad me, not bad them. A bad them is if I get the product and there's all kinds of problems with it and issues, and I give it a bad review, then they should be able to talk to me and ask me, what can we do better? What was the issue? Like, hey, we're going to do this now, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to send you a new one. Let us know if we conquered that. Can you tell us? And like I always tell them though, like that I'm gonna do an honest review. Like sometimes companies will get a hold of you and they'll ask you like they'll just ask if you want to check something out, and then you're like, yeah, cool. But then they'll start trying to ask you things that are leaning towards them telling you how to do a review. And I always just gotta stop them, like, hey, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. You can send me the product. I'm gonna review it as is. If it's good, then I'll do this. All right. If it's bad, you don't want me to do that. Trust me. Like, I don't want to agree right now to say, yeah, I'll do 3 videos on YouTube and 5 videos on Instagram, because then you're going to have what, 8 videos out there of me tearing that fucking thing apart. So let's not even agree to something like that. Let's start off with, I'll review it. And if it's a good product, because it's good, I will show other people. I'm not going to sit there and advertise a product that's shitty just because you want me to, or because you sent it to me, as if that product is worth the amount of effort I'm going to put into reviewing it. Like, that doesn't make sense. But I do joke around all the time about being a shill. So just know that. Just got my driver. Nice. But yeah, I companies can be hilarious. Especially when they if you do give them a bad review or say something bad, they'll try to oh man, I could tell you guys some stories. I've even had some people try to lie on me. I've had everything happen. I'm not going to get into it right here on a live, but yeah. I try to make it seem like I did something to the knife and shit. Go fuck yourself. My first, I think the best one is the Work Sharp. The Work Sharp precision guided system. I think I'm like, something's going on right now. Things are starting to go slow on my computer, so I'm gonna get out of here. But I'm gonna explain this. So the Work Sharp precision guided sharpener upgrade kit is the best one you can get, because you can always buy aftermarket attachments. The aftermarket attachments will allow you to open it up and do other things, but you don't have to buy that right away. Just with the system itself, you can get an amazing edge. So that is the best you can get, best bang for your buck. You can get a Lansky system. That's also great. And there's other budget systems out there. Right now I have one in the other room that I'm testing, but I can't recommend it yet because I've only tested it once. So the Work Sharp I can recommend. That's a good system, especially for a beginner, for somebody that does, it's under $100. And then to do attachments and other stones and everything, yeah, it brings the price up, but you don't have to do that. You have the option to do that later on in the future. So, all right, guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you to all the Patreons. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to everybody who donated tonight. You guys are amazing. Made me some fucking moolah. And hopefully that moolah will keep me over my the revenue I'm trying to stay into. Mr. Metal Complex, I know you're not in here, but just so you know, I'm fucking coming. I'm coming fast. And yeah, like the video, guys, and I appreciate everybody who did like the video. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I love you guys, and peace out. Later, home slice. Night.